25, isn't it? Apologise and everything's all right.
Exactly.
Here's the goal kick downfield. Joe Linton heads it forward. Comes back for Newcastle. Fabian Schär. Newcastle send the green shirts forward. Still Schär in possession. West Ham backing away, retreating. Back into position. Tonali. Into Bruno Guimaraes. And make it 1 minute to go of the 90. West Ham closing in on victory. Ball forward. Juve is able to get up and head that out of play. Throw in for Newcastle here. Tonali is going to take it. No long throw. Back to Bruno Guimaraes. He controls it. Right footed ball all the way to the far side of the penalty area. Wan-Bissaka up, hair flying all over the place. Heads it away back to Barnes. And then Barnes receives it again from Chow. Barnes. Infield. Centre field, Bruno Guimaraes. Tonali's there as well. Drags it back with his right foot. Plays it to Elanga. Elanga clips the ball across. And it's headed goalwards, but straight at Areola, who's able to claim it. The header from Osula in the middle, but straight at the West Ham goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was good play down the right. That was the best bit of play Newcastle have had. And you think when the ball came in, it's a tame header from Osula, straight at Areola.
Back to Hampden. Not far away from the final whistle with you, Gavin Wallace.
Not away at all, still on each. Rio Hatate Johnson, such a good chance. It was a lovely passage of play from Celtic. Forrest plays it back out to him, and all he had to do was keep it down. He blazed it over the bar, 1 each.
And it is half-time in the 3 o'clock kickoff in the FA Cup. Port Vale 4, Malden and Tiptree 1 after the non-league side took the lead. Kevin Horlocks, Malden and Tiptree. Newcastle. And we are into 5 minutes of added time. And West Ham supporters now. Well, Nuno Espirito Santo in the match programme today, the £4 match programme, asked the West Ham supporters to do their bit. And that's what they're trying to do now. Roll West Ham through to, well, I have to say, an unexpected victory. That's what it would be, even though they're on their home turf. Bruno Guimaraes now to the right-hand side. It would be quite the deflator if Newcastle score. Elanga swings it in, a high football by Byrne. That's given us a free kick on Souček, and it is a free kick to West Ham in their own box. A goal in the Eastleigh-Walsall Cup tie. Jacob Coulshaw.
Yeah, that'll be that, John. Eastleigh 0, Walsall 3. Jamal Mack coming off the bench. A mix-up at the back from Eastleigh, and Mack just slots it into the bottom left-hand corner. Walsall are on their way to the second round of the FA Cup. Eastleigh 0, Walsall 3.
Yeah, Walsall going through today with Shrewsbury and Port Vale, it would seem, are heading through. Gainsborough Trinity against Accrington kicks off at 5:15. You'll be able to hear that on Sports Extra as well. Women's Cricket World Cup final continues on Sports Extra right now, live from Mumbai. And we have, Clinton, 5 minutes of added time. We've got just over 3 minutes of that to go. They're nearly there, West Ham. And Nuno for his first win as the West Ham head coach.
But these fans look nervous. We're looking around and I'm seeing some nervous fans, and you would be nervous because it hasn't been a good start for them.
As it's given away by Schär. Bourne, left side of the area, shoots for goal, but from the angle, went for the near top corner. He's saying it took a deflection. It's behind. It's a goal kick to Newcastle. So extra time in the semi-final with you, Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, it's coming up. Celtic 1, Rangers 1. Kenny on 25. Tavernier from the spot on 81. Rangers down to 10 men. This is a real Old Firm Cup tie, John. 1-1.
Yeah, the Rangers playing most of it with 10 men. Long ball forward for Newcastle, but Elanga sticks out a leg, can't get a touch. Cheers from the West Ham supporters. They're on their feet now. Now they're making a noise, the West Ham fans. On their feet, clapping their hands above their heads. It's a goal kick. 2.5 minutes to go. And try and bring the reaction. It'll be a very happy Nuno. Not that you'll necessarily be able to tell it in the interview that he does with us. He's very, very even, isn't he?
All the time. Even when Forest were flying last year, you'd have thought they were in a relegation sometime. But that's how Nuno is.
Yeah. Goal kick. Areola. After Newcastle took an early lead, it seemed that the die had been cast, but not so. Lucas Paquetá with the equaliser, 35th minute. And then that own goal looks as though that is going to be the winner if it stays like this. But Newcastle come down the left-hand side with Barnes, 2 West Ham players with him, forcing Barnes to go down towards the corner flag. Final touch of the West Ham foot, it's out of play. for a throw. Byrne is going to wind himself up, and there are yards and yards if you want to go right up against the advertising hoardings inside this stadium, the former Olympic Stadium. So here come Burns with a long throw from Dan Burn, flicked on right across the 6-yard box. Areola dives and gets there and catches it, safe in the goalkeeper's hands.
Yeah, that's what you wanted. He needs to get up though. He's wasting his own team's time. Get up. And how are you goalkeeper? You're getting cramped. Come on, mate. I don't understand it. Oh.
Yeah, he's having to be treated by El Hadj Malik Diouf, who's giving Areola the straight leg treatment. So Robert Jones has gone over there, and he's actually showing to the West Ham players that he will be adding this time on. Let's see if he does, because we are in the 5th minute of added time. 5 minutes, so a minimum of 5 minutes, but there will have to be at least a minute, 90 seconds after this. But as you said, Clinton Morrison, you know, Newcastle have hardly battered the door in the second half.
No, they haven't. He needs to hurry up though. I don't know what he's doing. He's wasting his own team's time. Like, the referee, get him up, or if not get him, I know you can't even get him off the pitch, but I don't know what he's doing.
Right, he is on his feet now. He's hobbling.
How can you get cramped for collecting a ball in your hand? Like, you're putting a shift like the rest of your players.
Well, he might explain that afterwards. The ball's dropped for him, and he then picks it up as Osula comes to force him to do that. And now Areola hurls it out over arm. And we are now into added time on added time. Cher heads it back. Absolute mystery now as to how much time there will be added.
Well, he just took 2 minutes, so he's wasted his own team's time.
So it could be 7 minutes, but we'll see. West Ham winning 2-1. Cher, long ball into the West Ham area. That is headed away by Kilman, and he finds a teammate in claret and blue, and he's able to take it forward, Paquetá, and cross the halfway line. Still going in the end, runs it out of play down the left wing, and there's a little bit of a push and shove. Oh no, that's totally unnecessary. Well, that's ridiculous, really. Jacob Ramsey's got involved in that, shoved over Paquetá. There's both received yellow cards. That's enraged the West Ham supporters. Paquetá looks as though the world's greatest injustice has just been served on him.
He deserves it. Why is he rolling around like he's been punched by someone? Get up. You know, John, it so frustrates me with footballers now in this day and age. Like, just get on with it.
Yes. I have the feeling, Clinton, you might have had a trick or two of your own in your time.
Definitely, but I was the one giving it out, John.
So Ramsey and Paquetá both yellow carded. And again, time has got to be added on for this. We're now in the 7th minute of added time.
Blame their goalie though, he went down. I don't know why he was going down, Areola.
Pope, the Newcastle goalkeeper, long and forward from him. Kilman comes and gets a big header on that for West Ham. He's headed it straight to Bourne, and there's only Tonali back, and now he's played it to Paquetá. Bourne wants it back, right side of the area to win it, shoots, Pope makes the save, and it's forced in! It's forced over the line by Souček, and West Ham have their win, their first at home in the Premier League this season, after 4 defeats out of 4. Listen to the noise. The West Ham Stadium has come alive. They've had to wait for it, but now they're reveling in it. 3-1 West Ham.
Yeah, it's a great break to be fair. And Paquetá still has the legs to get forward, and it's great play from Paquetá. Plays it to Bowen. He is onside. They will be checking he's onside, and he has the shot. Pope makes the save, but Souček reacts like a centre forward would react and taps it into the net. That is why our producer George said he used to be a centre forward, for his reactions there, John.
Well, the shot from Bowen actually rattled between the legs of Pope and bounced behind him into the 6-yard box, and Souček was...
They've disallowed it.
Oh, hang on.
I think they're saying maybe he's had has he got 2 hands on the ball when he's sliding in, but I couldn't see that, could you?
I'm not sure about that, has he? Well, it's still flashing up on the massive screens. Goal! But it looks as though it's been ruled out. I mean, they are still ruling on this. But the way that Nick Pope is getting himself ready, it looks as though he's ready to take a free kick. rather than a
Offside.
restart.
It's offside. It's the Jared Bowen offside. It's the timing.
Offside.
Yeah, it's the timing of the pass from Jared Bowen.
As you were, goal ruled out, boos from the West Ham supporters. However, it's eaten up even more time. We are now in the 9th minute of added time. The score remains West Ham 2, Newcastle 1, after that dramatic moment was ruled out. So, well, it really is anyone's guess now. We're in the 9th minute of added time. This could go up to 11 yet.
Yeah, it could.
And still we're waiting.
I've got a taxi to get home. This is a goal. It's a goal. I told you.
Oh!
It's not offside. Yeah, you know why, John? It's because the Jared Bowen, I said it earlier, it was when Paquetá played him in. He was level. He was level with the Newcastle one. It wasn't the Souček, it was Bowen. That's what they were checking for, offside.
Yeah, and it's onside. And it is 3-1 West Ham. Well, what a finish that is. Well, what a disappointment for Newcastle. 2 away defeats in a row for them in the Premier League. But what joy for West Ham. And even though they're at home, there's the whistle. There's the final whistle. And West Ham have done it. Their first win at home this season. Their first victory in this stadium since February. And their first win anywhere since August, and also a first victory under Nuno Espirito Santo as head coach in his 5th match in charge. Bitter disappointment for Newcastle after going 1-0 up, but 3-1 the final score. More on this in a moment, but straight to Hamden because Gavin Wallace.
From 25 yards out, Captain Callum McGregor has fired Celtic into the lead. 3.5 minutes in to extra time. It's a howitzer from 25 yards out. Celtic 2, Rangers 1, John.
So Celtic back in front there, but now the more natural sound of West Ham United, not the empty seats and the boos, although I should say, it's by no means absolutely packed to the rafters, as it wasn't right at the start of the day. But what a contrast now, Clinton, to the start of the afternoon when the players walked out to near silence. No expectation whatsoever from the home supporters, and yet they've come from a goal down and beaten Newcastle.
Yeah, they've been, outstanding. And you know what? It's down to the players to give the fans something to do. This place was jumping. It wasn't at the start, but I think after that first initial 5 or 10 minutes, it was outstanding. And that's what you got to do as players. You got to give these fans something to shout about, and they've done that all afternoon. Brilliant performance, though. It wasn't smash and grab, John. They actually thoroughly deserved it.
Yep, so they're still in the relegation zone, but that makes a world of difference, doesn't it? 7 points now for West Ham. And after Jacob Murphy's early goal, and the Newcastle players have gone to their supporters who are still here, and we have to pay tribute to many of them who have had real difficulties getting to this match. 1-0 up through Jacob Murphy, but Paquetá made it 1-1. The Botman own goal just before half-time, and then the clincher from the emergency striker Thomas Souček in the 6-yard box right at the end. And Jared Bowen said it, didn't he, in his column in the programme today. We need to really pull our fingers out, and they've done just that. West Ham 3, Newcastle 1.
John, Clinton, thank you very much indeed. So Newcastle 13th in the Premier League table. That will become 14th if Everton beats Sunderland on Monday. West Ham 18th now after that victory on 7 points, above Nottingham Forest on 6 and Wolves on 2. They have sacked their manager today, Vitor Pereira. So we'll take you very shortly to the Etihad and get the build-up underway proper to Manchester City versus Bournemouth. First, let's do more on that news out of Molineux. Senior football correspondent Sammy Mockbell has joined us. Sammy, I've just been reading your piece on the BBC Sport website. There's a lot of extra detail in there, including the suggestion that Pereira is said to regret not leaving before the start of this season.
Absolutely, and that was from my very good colleague and esteemed colleague Nick Masheter, who is also well across this story. But ultimately, Steve, I think the decision to sack Vitor Pereira this morning came down to three factors. I think the clearest one to all of us is the performance of the team, right? No wins in the Premier League, worst defence in the division, joint worst attack. I think that record kind of speaks for itself. I think the second factor here as well is shall we say, the poor relationship with supporters. Last season, Pereira was the toast of Molineux. Headed down to the pub for a few pints with supporters after games, and he was the sort of talk of the town. But there's been a growing wedge, shall we say, between the fan base and the manager in recent weeks, and that dysfunctional relationship came to a head last week at Wolves at Molineux after that defeat there, and I think that has been an issue for Pereira in the last few days. And I guess the final one, which I believe was hammered home yesterday at Fulham, was that the players simply aren't responding to them, and I think that the ownership at Wolves have looked at that situation and added all of those factors up and just thought it's a recipe for disaster, and unfortunately for Pereira, he's paid the price for that.
Obvious question then, what do we know, if anything, at this stage about a potential replacement?
Crossy, it's a story I've been trying to chase ever since the news broke this morning. I think two of the early names in the frame here are Middlesbrough manager Rob Edwards, and incredibly, given that he was sacked by Wolves only last season, Gary O'Neill is another name that I understand to be under consideration. I think with regards to Edwards, I believe, and some of the information I've been getting over the past couple of hours is that he might be the main man in the frame here, but there is equally an acknowledgement that Middlesbrough will be difficult to deal with, and there would be a big compensation package to be paid, and whether Wolves want to do that remains to be seen. But at this stage, yes, those are the two names that I've heard that are in the frame.
They can have him for 100 million, Sammy.
That's your Sunday salary, isn't it?
Nice one, Sammy, thank you. Senior football correspondent Sammy Mockbell. Never make a joke at someone who is funnier than you. That's what I should have learned. Very good. That's Sammy, so we will wait with bated breath then to see what happens with Wolves, who sacked manager Vitor Pereira today. That is the news that we broke earlier today. There has been a wicket in the Women's Cricket World Cup final, Ellie.
First wicket to fall, Tasmin Brits, brilliantly run out by Amanjot. Terrific throw from her. She was just trying to sneak a quick single, Tasmin Brits, but she's out for 23. 51 for 1, the South Africa score. 299 is the target, which would be a record score in the second innings of chasing in the World Cup final, and also South Africa's highest run chase by quite some distance as well. But Laura Wolfart, the captain, still there. They need her to keep a cool head. She's on 25. And 52 for 1 is the score for South Africa at the moment.
Thank you, Ellie. Commentary continues on 5 Sports Extra here on 5 Live. All eyes on the Etihad ahead of Manchester City versus Bournemouth in full on Premier League Sunday after the news with Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Steve, thank you. Extra police officers are patrolling the rail network in response to the stabbing of multiple people on a train in Cambridgeshire last night. We're told that 2 of the 11 people taken to hospital remain in a life-threatening condition. 2 British men who are aged 32 and 35 are being questioned on suspicion of attempted murder. Officers say they don't believe the attack was terror-related. Here's our correspondent Daniel Sanford.
The 2 obvious possibilities that leaves are either some kind of mental health incident where somebody's kind of gone crazy, as it were, on a train with a knife, and that's always a possibility. And the other is that it's some kind of a gang-related kind of knife incident.
The King and Queen say they're truly appalled and shocked by the stabbing. In a statement, they thank the emergency services for the response last night, adding their deepest sympathy to all those affected. Amira was on the train when the attack happened. She's been speaking to the BBC.
People getting trampled on, when it's it was quite a very busy train, so people were just trying to run away from the attacker, and obviously people were falling and people were standing on them. Yeah, it was horrible. I felt so claustrophobic. I thought that this would be a nightmare that would never end.
In other news today, the Defence Secretary John Healey says work's underway to strip Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor of his last military rank, Vice Admiral in the Royal Navy. Andrew lost his other military positions in 2022 and had his Prince title removed last week because of the ongoing controversy surrounding his links to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He's always denied wrongdoing. Officials in Ukraine say a wave of Russian air attacks overnight killed 6 people, including 2 boys aged 11 and 14. Tens of thousands of people have also been left without power. Ukraine's carried out its own drone strikes on Russia's energy infrastructure. And prosecutors in Paris say the brazen jewellery heist at the Louvre Museum last month was executed by petty criminals rather than by organised crime professionals. Officials believe one of the thieves is still on the run.
Next week on 5 Live, we're talking tax.
Got to work, you've got to pay your tax. It is what it is. Why don't my taxes being spent on?
It's a big question. Is it fair? Who should pay more tax or less tax? And what on earth is fiscal drag?
People out there struggling, it's not really fair.
Fair is a different perspective. What's fair?
Cutting through the jargon, talking to real people, and getting to the bottom of what tax means for you.
You should all pay a bit more tax and then have better public services. Why do we have to pay so much? Things would be a lot different if I were in charge, I think.
Talking tax next week
on BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Full time in the FA Cup in that game between Eastleigh and Walsall. Jacob Culshaw.
Eastleigh 0, Walsall 3. Steve Walsall into the hat for the second round of the FA Cup. Evan Weir nodded home inside 6 minutes before an emphatic finish from Daniel Carnu. 5 minutes into the second, Jamal Matt wrapped it up to make it 3, and they're through. Full time, Eastleigh 0, Walsall 3.
Full commentary on the way in 20 minutes then of Manchester City versus Bournemouth.
Against second, Manchester City in 8th, Bournemouth in second, but if Manchester City win the game, they will go second. 4 changes for them from the defeated Aston Villa last weekend. Let's give you their 11. Donnarumma in goal, Mateus Nunes at right back, Ruben Dias, Josko Gvardiol the centre-backs, Nico O'Reilly comes in today at left back, John Stones drops to the bench, Nico Gonzalez in central midfield, Rodri is named amongst the substitutes today, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Ryan Cherki makes only a second Premier League start of the season, Jeremy Doku's back in the starting lineup, and you know who, the big number 9, Erling Haaland up front. Bournemouth lost their opening Premier League game of the season away at Liverpool, since then unbeaten in 8. 2 changes for them from the 2-0 win against Nottingham Forest. Here's their 11. Petrovic in goal, Alex Jimenez at right back, Bafode Diakite comes back into the defence to partner Marcos Senesi at centre-back, Trufer at left back, Alex Scott and Tyler Adams in central midfield, and David Brooks returns to the team today. He's in for Clivert. So it's Brooks, Tavernier and Semenyo, and they're playing behind the 19-year-old scoring sensation, Ellie Krupi.
So we've got Paul Robinson alongside Ali for commentary. Match of the day tonight, BBC 1 10:30 is Mark Chapman, Michael Carrick and Rob Green, who's with us now. Afternoon, Rob.
Hi, Steve. How are we doing?
Very good, thank you. So, City start the day 9 points behind Arsenal. It's their 10th game of the season. I'm not going to throw out there, is this a must-win? However, at what point do you stop saying, oh, it's still early?
Well, you know what? This is a real stumbling block, and I think it is a big game for Manchester City because it's a threat. It's a threat for them. You know, the way that Bournemouth play, the sort of the nature and just how they go for games. And Manchester City are a sort of team that if you do go up against them, they can outplay you and overpower you. But also you can get joy. So Bournemouth will think, Iraola will think, well, let's just go, let's do it, let's go toe for toe. A bit like what they did against Liverpool at the start of the season. And so we're looking at a game where actually you're thinking about it going, this is a game where Manchester City will probably be more worried about Bournemouth than Bournemouth worried about Manchester City.
Which, Paul, is a remarkable thing to think, isn't it? But it is also true.
Yeah, of course it is. Bournemouth are playing without fear, and that's exactly how teams have had joy against Manchester City. They've exposed their weaknesses rather than allowing them to play to the strengths. I mean, so often have we seen teams come here and sit in a low defensive block, even away from home. Manchester City come up against that, but actually teams realise that they're not as infallible as you think they are, and when you actually go at them and their defensive frailties, you know, they can be exposed. And there's no better team this stage of the season, the way that they've started the season, than Bournemouth to play to their strengths, because defensively, okay, they're a good side defensively, but Manchester City are just one of 3 teams who've scored more goals than Bournemouth this season, so they're capable of scoring.
Overall, Rob, are City a bit of a work in progress at a time where Arsenal are picking up so many wins that if we're talking about a title race, City can't really afford to be that at the moment?
It seems like they're just not there yet. I think if you're looking at a season where, you know, Arsenal weren't doing what they're doing right now and no one's really come up with an answer, you'd say what an interesting challenge it would be for sort of teams which are works in progress, are teams in transitions, and Manchester City do fall into that. So and you're looking through, we've got no fullbacks. We've got no fullbacks for Manchester City. You're looking at players coming back to fitness, players trying to find their form. Cherki's coming back in. So It's very not much the finished product, if a work in progress, if that's the same thing. Exciting, yes. Fallible, yes. I think both teams are. So you're looking at it. One winner definitely from today, I think, will be Arsenal.
So is that, Rob, what links the last two things we've been talking about together then? The idea of City weaknesses and those full-back positions. It's nothing against Nico Riley, certainly, but him on the left and Nunez on the right, if we're talking about those areas that Paul was saying that can be exploited, is that near the top of the list?
Well, you're looking at it saying, well, actually, O'Reilly is the best left-back at the club right now. He's the best one for Manchester City. It's a more of a damning statement on the players who aren't playing left-back, who that is in Aït-Nouri, that's his position. So, and Nunez, again, we've seen him against teams that when he is exposed is fallible at right-back. He's just not his position, is it? It's not what he wants to do. So I'm sure Bournemouth, you're looking at the likes of Semenyo going, just get in the ball, let him be direct, go at them. So I'm sure from the left-hand side, if he's up against Nunez, he'll be licking his lips.
There's a load of numbers, Rob, around Erling Haaland that I've seen this week, because I think everybody is understandably trying to just put new information around something that we already know, which is that they're incredibly reliant on him. So he scored
75% of their goals in Premier League and Champions League. For context,
last time they won the league, he scored 28% of their goals. Is that a reflection of something to do with Haaland, or is it more about creating the chances for him?
I think you look at when he didn't score last week.
Where was the answer there? And there wasn't one, was there? I think that's the most worrying part. So, as we said, work in progress, that's part of it. Cherki coming back will be someone who can operate in those areas that will create space, will create something. But the other guys around him, they need to
start finding answers, because we've seen Haaland have these runs. We've also seen Haaland have runs where he doesn't touch the ball for 5-6 games. So it's going to be those moments where the others need to step up.
The two games, Steve, he's not scored in the Premier League, Aston Villa and Tottenham, they've lost them both. The other game they lost, he did score away at Brighton. He should have scored 3 more in the first half, didn't take the chances, but no one else scored, and then Brighton got 2 in the second half.
We'll talk more Bournemouth in a second. Rob, thank you very much. Have a good one later.
Thank you, mate.
That's Rob Green. You will be able to see him on Match of the Day tonight. Mark Chapman, Michael Carrick and Rob, 10:30 BBC 1. Let's check in on the Women's Cricket World Cup final. Ellie.
Yes, they're buzzing inside the DY Patil Stadium because South Africa have lost their second wicket. Annika Bosch, who dropped 2 catches in that Indian innings. LBW to Sri Charani for a duck. 62 for 2 after 12 overs. They won't panic quite yet, South Africa, because Laura Wolfart, the captain, is still there. 35 not out, but India will feel like they are getting the upper hand definitely here. 62 for 2 after 12 overs.
Commentary continues on 5 Sports Extra. Anyway, back for 10-man Rangers in extra time at Hampden. Gavin Wallace.
Well, if anything's to go by, then yes, potentially. As you're down 2-1 just now, Callum McGregor put them in front, put Celtic in front with that 25-yard howitzer. Butland questionable, maybe should have done a little bit better, but we've just kicked off. Celtic have 1 foot in that final. They lead 2-1, Steve.
Malden and Tiptree took the lead against Port Vale in the FA Cup. Feels like an awful long time ago, Sani Rodravajala.
Very much so. That was only 6 minutes in, and Port Vale have now made it 5-1. It's Devante Cole with the most latest one here in the second half. A corner coming in, Byers with the header, and Devante Cole with his second of the game from point blank range. Port Vale 5, Malden and Tiptree 1.
Other results in the FA Cup so far today: Eastleigh 0, Walsall 3, South Shields 1, Shrewsbury Town 3. In the Women's Super League, it finished Villa 3, Everton 3, Brighton 2, Manchester United 3, Leicester 1, Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2, Liverpool 1. So we'll keep you up to date with all of the other live sport that's going on, but we've got 12 minutes to go now until full commentary of Manchester City versus Bournemouth. If we can squeeze in a bit of live reaction to West Ham's win over Newcastle at the London Stadium, then we'll do that. In fact, we can do it now, live there with George Cummins.
Thanks very much, Steve. Yeah, man of the match, Freddie Potts. Sum up how you're feeling. Your first start for West Ham when you take the man of the match trophy home.
Yeah, over the moon. It weren't something that obviously I was planning on doing. I just wanted to come here and get the win. That was the first thing on my mind. I didn't even think about anything to do with man of the match, but everyone's so happy in the changing room that we've got this win, and it's definitely now something to build on. We've got a big chance to get another 3 points next weekend.
Yeah, talk us through the game, because you went behind, Jared Bowen hits the post, Newcastle got the other end and score. I think everyone thought, this could be a bad day, but the team, you pulled your finger out, didn't you?
Yeah, because we conceded early before, but then there's something about this week that we've been working on. We've been really together, and we knew that once the first goal went in, we needed to bounce back and show the fans that we've got character, and we did that. And then the second went in, and the main thing was from then on to keep that 3 points, and we did that.
Do you think that was the best performance of the season?
With Nottingham Forest away, obviously, but I think the 2 wins, didn't they? So Nottingham Forest away I thought everyone was good, and we showed the same sort of character as we did then today. And the main thing was we were all together and we all fought for each other out there.
And just in terms of what will this win do for you, for the team, just going forward? Another 3 points, you're on the tails of burning now, but Jared Bowen talked about the team being in trouble, but if you play like that, you won't be in much trouble, will you?
I think it's just confidence, 100% confidence. I think when there's a lot of noise from outside, it's so important that we've got to stick together, and today we did that. We showed that we've got the character in the changing room to do it. And the main thing for us, we knew Newcastle were a good side, but we thought if we fight and we win every sort of battle that we were in, then we'd come out on top, and we did that today.
And what's your dad said to you? No, but he'd be very proud. I mean, what an honour for him to see that, what you've done today.
Yeah, I think he'll be proud. We just have to wait and see later on, back at home, I think, see what's on for dinner, and talk about it then.
He might treat you to a takeaway.
Maybe Chinese or something, yeah, maybe.
Lovely, enjoy. Thanks very much, well done, thank you.
Oh, great stuff. Freddie Potts live on Premier League Sunday there with George Cummins. Another goal at Hampden, Gavin.
And it's quite cheap from a Rangers point of view. Celtic 3, Rangers 1. Kieran Tierney blasts down that left-hand side. How many times have you seen him do that over the years? And Callum Orsman, formerly of Fulham under-21s, just slides in to put it beyond, gets right in behind the whole Rangers backline, who are caught napping. And we've played 20 minutes of extra time. Celtic 3, Rangers 1, Steve.
Under 10 minutes to go until kick-off at the Etihad. Manchester City against Bournemouth in full with Paul Robinson and Alistair Bruce-Ball. I'm definitely going to get somebody's name wrong now, because we're going to talk about Bournemouth's Alex Scott with Bournemouth Daily Echo's Alex Smith. So Alex, tell us about Alex.
He's made a brilliant start to the season. He's I think been one of the side's probably 3 best players so far this season. Has really raised his levels this season. Got a good run of games. I think he started just as many games this season as he did last season already. Really making the most of it.
He's probably one of the least talked about of those young England players to start and win the most recent final against Germany. But injuries are the reason for that, aren't they? You know, its knee problems would have been such a big issue for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's missed large chunks through injury, and certainly chatting to him, he's been frustrated at that, but certainly feels now that he's playing some of his best football and getting a good run in the team, and certainly last weekend's result against Forest, getting one over Elliot Anderson, will certainly help his cause.
How big a role does Tyler Adams play in allowing Alex Scott to be Alex Scott, if you see what I mean?
Oh, huge. I think he's been brilliant this season as well. He's been another one who's been plagued with injuries, but now he's getting some regular game time in the side, and he's a dominant force in midfield. He's sort of everywhere. He's one of those players that does all of the sort of dirty work and all of the stuff that maybe you don't pick out loads, but he's really important to how Bournemouth play the game.
I find him, Paul, very impressive, Tyler Adams, as a young guy who's about to captain the USA at a home World Cup. He is some player.
Yeah, listen, I think there was a reason that Leeds United bought him initially from Leipzig. I'm not necessarily sure that he hit the heights that he's getting to now at Leeds United, but there's been a big scouting report on him for a number of years, and Bournemouth took the opportunity to sign him from Leeds when Leeds got relegated. And I think, as you say, he's the engine room, and the injury problems that he's had has probably stopped him actually attaining the levels that he's got to now. But I think we're obviously seeing the best of him. I mean, he's still only 26 years old, and as you say, captaining his side at a home World Cup, it's going to be a huge honour for him.
Is he also, Alex, underrated in the sense that how many times externally will you have heard the new Bournemouth defence talked about, and we really just focus on those individuals and how well they've done to slot in, but Adams is the guy screening them and helping all of that knit together, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think one feature of Bournemouth's season that I think has gone a little under the radar is how much the players who were already at the club have stepped up. Tyler Adams being one of them, Alex Scott being another. Obviously Antoine Semenyo's been getting a lot of attention recently, but there's been a lot of focus on how the new signings have arrived and slotted straight in and gelled, and yes, that's been a big part of how Bournemouth has started the season so well, but the levels of the players who are already here have gone up, and they're really playing well, and that's a big part of the form.
Just before we let you go, I've got to ask you one on Eli Krupi, because he is the name on everybody's lips at the moment. He's come into the team for Evan Nilsson, who's fit again for the bench, but he just can't stop scoring, can he?
No, I mean, he looks like a young player full of confidence. Only 19 as well. It's quite remarkable how he sort of just slotted in and looks like he's played for at least a season or so in the league, and he's only made 2 starts. And I think the game at Palace, the brace, and then the absolutely brilliant goal last weekend just showed how much confidence he has for a young striker.
Great stuff, Alex. Thank you very much for joining us. Alex Smith there from the Bournemouth Daily Echo. Thank you. So we'll bring you as much reaction as we can to West Ham 3, Newcastle 1. If we're lucky in the next couple of minutes, we might hear from the Newcastle manager Eddie Howe live on Premier League Sunday. If not, we'll certainly do that at half-time. Ali Bruce Ball, from your fantasy football perspective, BBC Sport podcast, Eli Krupi must be a name on your lips as well.
Well, he's in Dave's team, so I can't have him. I'm going to give you a stat on him, though, Steve. I don't know if you've seen this one. It may well feature today if he scores. He's scored in his last 3 Premier League games. He's only 19. There are only 3 teenagers in the history of the Premier League who've scored in 4 or more consecutive games. Robbie Fowler did it 3 times in the 94-95 season. Nicolas Anelka, when he burst onto the scene with Arsenal in the late 90s. And Franny Jeffers, the original Fox in the box, did it for Everton at the start of the century. It's not been done for 25 seasons. He's got a chance to do it this afternoon. And yes, he might sneak into my team at some point.
Team's on the way out. This is actually my favourite one, Paul, on Krupi. 27 goals since the start of last season. That is more than any other teenager in Europe. That is 6 more than a certain Lamine Yamal.
That's some comparison, isn't it? I mean, we forget how young he is. Like you say, he's still 19. Bournemouth stole a march on him. I think they've got there before a lot of other clubs.
Stand by, Paul. Just got to jump in because Eddie Howe is live with George Cummins.
Thanks very much, Steve. Eddie, sum up how you're feeling after that defeat today.
Yeah, it's one of those lows in management that you get. I think we're really disappointed with our performance today. Very uncharacteristic of us. We've lost games this season, but I think we've been very competitive in every game, but today I thought we were below the levels we've set.
Does it feel like sort of one step forward, one step back? At the minute he was really good against Spurs on Wednesday, and then today, after leading after 4 minutes, you didn't look happy. You made triple sub at half time.
Yeah, I think we're pretty accurate. I think we feel like we've been a bit like that in the Premier League, where we've stepped forward, and you think that's a big turning point for us, and then for whatever reason we haven't kicked on from that. And it was a bit similar to the game today, a great start for us, but we didn't capitalise on it, and our performance deteriorated in that first half. I don't think we were good. Made the changes to try and bring some fresh energy, fresh dynamic to the pitch, but although our performance was better in the second half, I don't think it was still us at our best.
What do you think's going on with the away form at the minute? Because it's a bit unlike you last season, this season he's just struggling on the road.
Yeah, I don't really have the answer to that right now. I think that some of those away games that we've not won in, we've been very good, and for whatever reason we haven't quite got the results our performances deserved. That wasn't the case today. I thought West Ham deserved to win, and we have to be very honest with ourselves and go, we've got to improve.
And what have you said to the players in the dressing room?
I think a period of self-reflection is always very healthy. So I think encouraging them to do that, encouraging us to be very honest with ourselves. We pride ourselves on our attitude and how we play the game and our body language and all those basic things that really epitomise us at our best, and they were lacking today.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
That's Eddie Howe live on Premier League Sunday with George Cummins. So this is your choice of listening right now with us here on 5 Live. If you want Celtic Rangers, the final stages of extra time, there's only 4 minutes to go. Celtic lead Rangers by 3-1 in the Scottish League Cup semi-final. You can hear that on BBC Radio Scotland on 5 Sports Extra. You will get the cricket. India and South Africa in the final of the Women's Cricket World Cup. South Africa chasing 299 for victory, a 78 for 2 of 15. So that one is on Sports Extra. We'll keep you up to date in the FA Cup. 20 minutes to go. Port Vale 5, Malden and Tiptree 1 is the latest score. Here on 5 Live then, full commentary on Premier League Sunday of the pick of the games this weekend. I really feel that Manchester City versus Bournemouth with Paul Robinson and Ali Bruceball.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, it promises to be a really entertaining Premier League fixture. Exactly a year ago today, Bournemouth beat Manchester City for the first time in their history. That was at their stadium. They've never beaten Manchester City on their own patch. And we're just about ready to go. 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. We've already brought you West Ham 3, Newcastle 1. This is 8th against 2nd. Manchester City in 8th start 2 points behind Bournemouth in 2nd, who are unbeaten in 8 Premier League games. Manchester City have already lost 3 Premier League games this season. The latest of those last weekend, the 1-0 defeat away to Aston Villa. It's not quite as simple an equation as this, Paul Robinson, but from Bournemouth's point of view, and I know they'll be thinking about the damage they can cause Manchester City, stop Erling Haaland scoring this season, you stop City.
Well, that would seem to be the case, wouldn't it? He's only the second blank last week. When he doesn't score, they don't seem to win nor score. He scored 65% of the goals, which is a huge percentage of them. But I think the thing around Manchester City, yes, we've discussed their inconsistency. Win today, they're 6 points behind Arsenal with 28 games to go.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And actually, if Bournemouth don't win this game, let's not forget Sunderland are at home to Everton tomorrow night. If they win that game and Bournemouth don't win here, Sunderland will be second in the Premier League table. Donnarumma comes out to punch the ball away early on for Manchester City. They're in the sky blue shirts with the white numbers on their backs. They're defending the goal in front of the North Stand away to our left-hand side, and Bournemouth are in the familiar red and black, thin black vertical stripes, mainly red body to the kit, black shorts, white numbers on those, black socks as well. Early throw-in for Manchester City as we welcome our listeners to the World Service across the globe to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City against Bournemouth. Marcus Tavernier passes to his right-hand side. Brooks with pace, past Guardiola, crosses in, Krupi scored, he's offside. Eli Krupi thought he'd scored within a minute of the start of this game. He nearly made it 5 in 4 games, and I'm pretty sure the assistant referee, Paul Robinson, has got that right. He looked offside.
It looked like he just mistimed his run, but it's such an early warning shot for Manchester City. Really good, quick turnover of play from Bournemouth. Quick, decisive passing. On the right-hand side, I think it's Brooks who goes past Guardiola like he's not there. Krupi's in the middle of the 6-yard box. He's looking at Brooks. He shouldn't really be offside, but he strayed 1 or 2 yards offside. Didn't take VAR long. But if Manchester City had any doubt about Bournemouth's attacking threat, within the first 2 minutes, they've just had a warning.
So Manchester City start to play out from the back. The ball is swept away up towards the halfway line. Semenyo and Truffert getting each other's way for Bournemouth here, but they're buzzing around trying to win the ball back off Manchester City. Bernardo Silva is there, and then Ruben Dias has bumped into one of the Bournemouth players who's gone down. And that's Krupi who's gone down. He's taken a whack in the chest. Manchester City were going to keep playing. It's not a head injury, and the referee's decided to stop the game. The referee's Anthony Taylor, by the way.
I think the referee stopped that because he didn't see that. There was an incident off the ball. Ruben Dias just shoulder barges into Krupi. He wasn't looking. The referee had turned away because there was no danger to Manchester City's goal. And I think he just wanted the VAR to check what the contact was. We're back underway, but he's got to be careful there, Dias.
Oh, Donnarumma took a little time to get the ball away there, and Krupi was very close to taking it off his toe. Doku falls to the ground, keeps the ball for Manchester City. Nico O'Reilly's in at left back this afternoon, just digs a little pass, low one down the left hand side. Haaland sees an opportunity to race across and get there. He's just beaten to it. Oh, poor clearance, nearly falls at the feet of Haaland. Senesi's going to get a second go at this in the right back position for Bournemouth, and manages to get it away down the right hand touchline. Next break in play, I'll remind you of the two teams. We are almost 3 minutes in at the Etihad Stadium. Pep Guardiola and Doni Iraola, both dressed all in black, out on the edge of the pitch. Both coach very enterprising, entertaining teams, which is why we're hoping for exactly that as a Premier League game of football. Haaland's layoff here to Ryan Cherki, making only his second Premier League start of the season for Manchester City. Phil Foden rolls it to O'Reilly. Here's Doku in a central position, 40 yards from goal. Across it comes to the bearded Bernardo Silva. Wide it goes to Mateus Nunes. He decides to play back into the midfield to Bernardo Silva. Manchester City will come out back towards the halfway line, and Silva with his left foot just strokes a pass which bounces twice in front of the bearded Guardiola.
He spots a little space to run into, charges forward. Tavernier tries to stick with him. Gvardiol turns on his heel, plays back to Foden, and Foden lays it back to Silva.
This is going to be good, you know. I know we're very early stages, but you can see the way that both teams are set up. We know that both teams like to play open and expansive when they've got the ball, but actually the high press from Bournemouth, you don't often see that with teams against Manchester City.
Doku forward to Gonzalez. On the outside is O'Reilly. Left-footed cross. Haaland tries to get on the end of it. Truffert was there. Volleys it away for Bournemouth. 0-0. Full time at Hampden Park, the second Scottish League Cup semi-final this weekend. Gavin Wallace.
And Celtic will play St Mirren. They've won this 3-1. Kenny, McGregor and Osmond scoring. Tavernier for Rangers and Asgard sent off, making it difficult. But Celtic progress and they win 3-1, Ali.
So 3-1, Celtic against St Mirren, playing for the League Cup in the final on the 14th of December. This is Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 0. Just short of 5 minutes in the first half. Elie Krupi, the 19-year-old Frenchman, has already had the ball in the net. That is after Brooks absolutely flew past Gvardiol. There is Brooks, plays the ball to Tavernier. Tavernier, whose brother, of course, James, scored from the penalty spot in that League Cup semi-final for Rangers, but Rangers have been beaten, and now it's run out of play by Alex Scott here, and that is going to be a throw-in for Manchester City. Paul Robinson.
Bernardo Silva using his experience. He's trying to get on the ball, trying to slow things down and get Manchester City some sustained possession, but Bournemouth are all over. They're almost going man-to-man on the pitch.
Mateus Nunes finds Bernardo Silva. Little layoff to Diaz. Back it comes to Josko Gvardiol, the light blue Manchester City shirts with the little red poppy emblem standing out in the centre of those. White diagonal slash across the front too. A little bit of neat interpassing in midfield. Then Bernardo Silva, slightly loose one from him, is lobbed over the head of a teammate. So Gvardiol goes back into his own half to collect the ball. Gonzalez brings it a few yards forward, then finds Foden. Phil Foden making his 200th Premier League appearance for Manchester City, his 9th season in the first team. Doku finds Foden into the penalty area, 2 touches and shoots. Senesi blocks, it's behind for the corner.
That's a great opportunity for Phil Foden. Really is. Finds himself in acres of space in between that Bournemouth defence that's normally so tight.
Doku cuts in from the left-hand side on his right foot, and he threads a pass through the eye of the needle into Phil Foden. His first touch is brilliant, but it's Senesi who gets across, makes a block in the end, but that's a clear opportunity for Foden.
A couple of goals for Phil Foden so far this season, only one of those in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola is pacing the touchline beneath us. Foden has gone across to take the corner from the left for Manchester City. It's an away swinger. Haaland's flick drops in the box, and Tavernier is able to thump it away with his right foot. Silva's volleyed pass. Foden nearly miscontrolled it. Runs nicely. Cross comes in. That's blocked. City fans appealing, I think, for a handball. Foden was appealing for a corner. That is what Manchester City have got.
Phil Foden's got twice there. Nobody's picked him up anywhere near. He took the corner. Bernardo Silva volleys it straight back to him. Loads of space. Looks to put it into the box. There's no case for handball there. The hand was tucked behind his back. Hit his chest, I think.
Right, another corner for Manchester City to come in from the left once Bournemouth have dealt with this, or whatever happens with it. I'll remind you of those 2 team lineups. Then I'm going to set you your little quiz question for the afternoon as well. Foden's delivery, Haaland's flicked header again, ball loose again inside that Bournemouth penalty area. Semenyo's onto it, goes streaking away. He's already up to the halfway line. Manchester City players can't live with him. He's laid it off to Brooks. Brooks takes a touch. Gvardiol's across. Nunes makes the challenge with his left shoulder. Brooks goes down, and Anthony Taylor was close by and says the challenge is okay.
Brilliant piece of counter-attacking football from Bournemouth. Semenyo picks it up deep inside his own half, and he runs at the back-track in Manchester City defence. Brooks it is again, this time on the left-hand side. His pace causes a problem, but Nunes just leans into him. I think just a shoulder-to-shoulder body contact knocked David Brooks off the ball, and Manchester City regain possession.
Manchester City's giant goalkeeper, Gianluigi, I beg your pardon, Donnarumma away to our left-hand side. Paul, you were pointing out before there, he makes Haaland look small.
We've seen him a few times, haven't we? We've seen him for PSG, but every time you see him in the flesh, you can't help but be in awe of the size of him. He's absolutely huge. It's such a dominant figure.
So interesting you say that, though, as a former goalkeeper, having played the position, recognising that, particularly in him.
It must just breed confidence, because, I mean, we talk about him not having the strongest decision-making coming off his line, but actually when he does come off his line, he's such an imposing figure coming through a crowd of bodies.
26 years old, 78 caps already for Italy. Won the European Championship with them.
so important in some of the shootouts, semi-final and final, of course.
You see some of the stats around him. I mean, he made his debut for AC Milan in the San Siro versus Sassuolo at the age of 16.
Yeah.
Made his Italy debut at 17. AC Milan paid 250,000 for him, age 14.
Yeah.
It's incredible when you do your history on him.
Champions League winner with Paris Saint-Germain last season as well. Bournemouth free kick, chipped up towards the edge of the penalty area by the right-back Alex Jimenez. Bournemouth couldn't get anything on it. That's an interesting diagonal across his own half from Bernardo Silva. Nodded back to Nunes there from Shirky. Back it comes across here to Silva. Low ball from him into the feet of Foden. Quick Silva Foden, just one touch turn and away he goes. Back to Silva. Down the left it goes to O'Reilly. 9 minutes in. Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 0. So Donnarumma between the sticks for Manchester City. Mateus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Josko Gvardiol, the two centre-backs. Nico O'Reilly at left-back. Nico Gonzalez in front of them. Then it's Bernardo Silva, Foden, Shirky and Doku, with Erling Haaland as the centre-forward. Worth mentioning that Rodri is amongst the substitutes for Manchester City this afternoon, having missed the last 4 games. But it's Nico Gonzalez who is playing his role in this City team, and I'll give you the Bournemouth lineup in a second. There is Gonzalez, first time layoff to Doku. Doku, who has dazzled at times this season. There's O'Reilly, who's impressed at left back as well. O'Reilly plays a couple of little 1-2s. Back it comes to Gvardiol. Helped himself to 6 goals last season, Josko Gvardiol, yet to score this season. Nunes with a little flick of the ball over Semenyo's head, collects it the other side. Silva's pass, then Shirky's ball goes astray. Semenyo gets onto it just inside his own half, but Nunes is back at it, makes the tackle. Krupi reacts quickly, races down the left to get to the ball for Bournemouth, chips it into the body of Ruben Dias, and it runs here to Mateus Nunes, and Manchester City can play out. Shirky dances onto his left foot, looks for the pace of Haaland. That's beyond Haaland. And Bournemouth's goalkeeper Petrovic comes flying out in a bright blackcurrant outfit. The Bournemouth keeper this afternoon away to our right. He clears it out for a throw.
Such a regular occurrence that we see. We don't really need to explain this. That was the Haaland run in between the two central defenders. Found really nicely by Shirky, but the goalkeeper read the through ball. Depth perception from Petrovic was bang on there. Came out, cleared it comfortably, got there before Haaland. But we see that so often, don't we? And Bournemouth actually are playing a high line.
Manchester City with possession inside their own half. Foden in space, crosses the halfway line. Immediately the Bournemouth defenders start chasing. Foden holds on to it. Brooks made the challenge. Comes across to Doku. Space on the left-hand side here. O'Reilly is there. Doku's going to go straight through the middle, though. Little 1-2 with Shirky. Back it comes to Nico Gonzalez. Now Bernardo Silva teasing on the ball. Little scoop pass, trying to release Nunes down the right. That was blocked. High bouncing ball is hoisted up into the air by Trufair. Gonzalez charges forward to win the header. It eventually ends up at the feet of Doku. Doku fires a pass at Foden. He tried a little back heel flick. Then Haaland lurking. Far post, left-hand side. Inside the box. Right-footed shot. Bounces twice safely into the arms of Petrovic. No power in the strike from the Norwegian.
Phil Foden's finding those little pockets of space, playing in that number 10 role. We quite often have discussions, don't we? What's Phil Foden's best positions? He coming in off the right-hand side, off the left. But actually, when he's in that number 10 role, in and around Erling Haaland, he can drop in, find the spaces, and he's always seemingly available for a pass.
West Ham 3, Newcastle 1. So West Ham still sitting in the bottom 3. Vital win for them. First one under Nuno. They move to 7 points. Nottingham Forest on 6. Wolves on 2. Sacked their manager today, Vitor Pereira. I know Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton want to hear from you on that on 6:06 tonight, which follows the commentary of this game. Bournemouth's lineup then is Petrovic in goal, Alex Jimenez on loan from AC Milan at right back, Trufair, the Frenchman, at left back, Diakite and Senesi, the two centre-backs, Alex Scott and Tyler Adams, we were discussing them before the game, in central midfield, Brooks, Tavernier and Semenyo, with Eli Krupi, the 19-year-old Frenchman signed from Lorient, as the centre-forward. Evan Nielsen, on his way back from injury, is on the bench for Bournemouth. Trufair thought about going for an early cross from deep there, decided against it. Tyler Adams, the USA national team captain, on the ball, plays back to Diakite, who was carrying as I said, Paul, in my team news today, a very fetching leather, sort of dark red leather satchel when he came onto the pitch with all his Bournemouth teammates ahead of the game.
An over-the-shoulder red satchel, wasn't it? Yeah, seemed to be all the rage at the moment. I'm not so sure they'd have gone down well when I played.
Would it not?
Certain managers may have banned them, that type of thing, from the dressing room.
You goalkeepers always have a little bag, though, don't you? You stick in the back of the net. You didn't go red leather satchel, though.
Can't tell you what was in that goalkeeper's secret.
Can you not? Okay, Semenyo's throw down the left. Tavernier tries to get onto it. Gonzalez read it, clears with his right foot. Nunes volleys it away. It bounces behind Trufer. He turns into his own half, turns into trouble. Shirky takes the ball off him, looks for Haaland. Senesi has to get there for Bournemouth, slides in and does so, and gets the ball across to Diakite. 0-0.
You don't see those anymore, do you, goalkeepers? I mean, we didn't even do it when we played. The old bags that they used to put in the back of the goal, because the pitches were that bad and muddy, they used to take spare pair of gloves and a towel.
My memory, watching early 80s of the likes of Ray Clements would have one of those and stick it in the back of the net. Here's Brooks on the right-hand side for Bournemouth. Finds Alex Scott. Scott passes back into his own half. It's across to Trufer. Trufer receives it from Semenyo, passes back to Senesi again. Manchester City players just creep towards Bournemouth, who pass the ball across to Trufer on the left. Here's Semenyo. 6 goals already for him so far this season. Bournemouth have lost it. Diaz clears with his right foot. Haaland won't get anywhere near that, so Senesi is able to turn, get on the ball inside his own half. So your Manchester City quiz question for all the listeners this afternoon. I'll give you the answer, say 10 minutes before the end of the game, so you can have a think about this while you're listening to the commentary.
Hang on, I know this question. They need a bit longer than that.
Do you think?
You want to give
game?
the duration of a game? Oh, well, to be fair, there is Google and AI now.
No, we can't let them do that. So if you're listening, 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the World Service, your quiz question is: Phil Foden has reached 200 Premier League appearances for Manchester City. He's the 15th player to do so. He's the youngest to get there, but that's not the question. I just need the other 14. Other 14 Manchester City players who've made 200 Premier League appearances. I'm trying to see how many of them are out there today. Definitely one. And only one. Only one of them out there makes the list for Manchester City. So I'll give you some answers. Steve Crossman will fancy a go at that as well if he's listening. 15 minutes into the first half. Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 0. And it is Petrovic, signed from Chelsea in the summer by Bournemouth, the goalkeeper. Eventually it's out to Tavernier. Tavernier just darts infield. Plays a little sideways pass to Scott. Scott to Adams. Across it comes to Diakite. Bournemouth trying to move the Manchester City defence around. Diakite with the diagonal, looking for Semenyo. The ball bounces once in front of him. Controls it with the outside of his right boot and faces up against Mateus Nunes down by the byline. Takes him on the inside, infield, into the penalty area. Overruns it into Bernardo Silva. Here's Shirky. Low right-footed pass down the right-hand touchline for City. Intercepted by Senesi. Scott. Delicate little pass to Senesi, and Bournemouth can start to build from just inside their own half.
We're playing without fear, Bournemouth. That's one thing you can say about them. A good description of the way that they've set up today. Set up in the usual formation, the 4-2-3-1, and actually playing without fear, pressing Manchester City high and doing nothing different to as they would against any other Premier League opponent. They're taking on Manchester City. They're going toe-to-toe.
Gonzalez, flick ball, headed forward by Shirky. He's released Haaland. Haaland steaming away at the Bournemouth goal. One-on-one, and he finishes it. It's inevitable. He's done it again, Erling Haaland. Sprints from the halfway line, and even sort of half attempts. A bit of the Peter Crouch robot in the celebration down there. Something new for Erling Haaland there, but certainly not in the goal scoring. Yet another one for the big man. Manchester City lead Bournemouth 1-0.
Number 16 for the season, Erling Haaland, and once again it's that ball over the top. Really high line from Bournemouth, but it's Cherky with a header this time. That shows how deep that they were back. Haaland literally 5 yards into the Bournemouth half. He's still got so much to do. Takes him 2 or 3 touches to get to the edge of the box. Trufer actually gets to him, but what Haaland does really well is he runs across Adrien Trufer, the defender, so he knows that he can't touch him. He can feel the defender behind him. He knows he's closing him down, but what he does is he goes across the front of him, uses his body strength, and then it's just a usual expectant finish from Haaland with his left foot underneath the goalkeeper. Manchester City 1 up.
4 touches I counted there from Haaland himself as he took the ball. Shirky with the header. He nods it down to himself. 1 touch with the left foot, then another couple, and then he just strokes it past the goalkeeper. Simple as that.
It's that run that we see so often. Tried to describe it early on. Doesn't need our words to put pictures to it. It's the Haaland run straight through the middle. He doesn't go the left, he doesn't go the right. He holds his run, he stays onside, ball over the top, and he's a straight line to goal.
Not a bad effort from Petrovic, actually. Watched Haaland all the way and stuck his right leg out. Went the right way that the shot went. It just caught the bottom of his calf. and ended up in the back of the net. So in terms of the numbers, 16th goal of the season, 13 appearances so far, including this one in all competitions for Manchester City. 12 in 10 Premier League, plenty of this game still to go. 25 for club and country already this season, and that's a 97th Premier League goal. Now he's passing with the outside of his left foot. O'Reilly goes down, and the Manchester City players not only appealing for a free kick there, but if they were to get the free kick, I think Alex Jimenez would be sent off, because O'Reilly was trying to get onto a ball and he would have been clean through on goal.
Referee Anthony Taylor, who just brought his hands together to see that clashing movement, saying that there's an unintentional coming together between the two players, but the ball's gone out to play now, so VAR will look. You can hear the boos in the stadium. Pep Guardiola's gone down beneath us to the fourth official. Throw-in taken very quickly. No word of a VAR check.
No, game is back underway. Pep Guardiola has completed his conversation with the fourth official. Manchester City leading Bournemouth 1-0. Erling Haaland the scorer. Yes, 97th Premier League goal. Hang on a second, he might be at it again. Doku running with the ball, getting away from the trailing Bournemouth defenders. Plays to his right to Shirky. Haaland is lurking. Your eye's just drawn to him. Fascinating as well to watch as he started that run. The entire stadium, apart from the Bournemouth fans, just getting to their feet with him, knowing exactly what was about to happen.
It's the run that we see so often though, isn't it? That's what he's good at. People say he doesn't get involved in the game, but he just knows when to time his run. He doesn't do anything clever with his run. He stays on side. That's the most clever thing he does with his run. He stays on side, times his run, and then at the end of the run, 9 times out of 10, the ball's in the back of the net.
97 Premier League goals in 107 Premier League appearances. Quickest to 100 prior, Alan Shearer, 100 in 124. Erling Haaland is almost certainly going to beat that unless he goes on a ridiculous drought.
What about his international record? He's got more goals than caps.
Yeah, I know.
It's phenomenal.
I know. Women's World Cup final in the cricket. South Africa chasing a massive Indian total. There's been another wicket. Ellie Oldroyd.
Yes, Navi Mumbai has come to life again. They've gone very quiet, but 114 for 3 South Africa now, with the dismissal of Sune Lees, who put on 50 for that third wicket, with Laura Wolfart caught and bowled by Shefali Verma, top scorer in the Indian innings, but a brilliant catch from her in her first over, out for 25. So Marizanne Kapp has joined Laura Wolfart in the middle. If these two can put on another partnership, then it gets interesting, but South Africa don't have the batting depth that India had. Still going well, Laura Wolfart, though, 61 not out for the South African captain, 114 for 3 in the 21st over.
Commentary of that World Cup final continues over on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Bournemouth have managed to deal with Doku for now. They've cleared the ball for a Manchester City throw.
It was a wicked in-swinging caller. Donnarumma slightly got underneath it.
He's looking to kind of punch the ball and palm the ball away at the back post. Gets underneath his own player. In all honesty,
Bournemouth at 6s and 7s. It's gone behind for another corner.
Told you it'd be a cracker, didn't I?
Yes,
This is brilliant. Great out-swinging corner this time. Haaland gets his head on it. Should really do better. Bounces in the 6-yard box to Jeremy Doku. Hooked away by a Bournemouth defender for another corner.
Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1. Half an hour played in the first half. Foden's corner curling in, punched away by Petrovic, volleyed by Shirky. Here to Doku, controls. Suddenly black and red shirts all around him. And Doku has committed the foul here on Brooks as Bournemouth tried to bring the ball away, and the Manchester City fans irate. Pep Guardiola's getting them going now. He turns and laughs. He laughs at the injustice of it all, or the way he perceives it, but then he wants to get the Manchester City fans involved and back in the team because he knows they've got a game on here.
Yeah, and Guardiola's in the referees here because as that corner was swung in, he feels that he was fouled off the ball. Referee's got his hands full here. There's a lot going on.
So Bournemouth have never won away to Manchester City in the club's history. Been meaning to go back to the Cricket at Women's World Cup final. There's another wicket has fallen there. Ellie Oldroyd.
Yes, 124 for 4 South Africa now. That target 299, and Shafali Verma starred with the bat, now taken her second wicket with the ball. Marizanne caught behind for a duck. Laura Wolfhard is 65 there, not out still, but can she get her team over the line? 124 for 4 after 23.
Commentary over on Sports Extra. Doku eventually tackled wide on the left for Manchester City. He's won them another corner. Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, West Ham 3, Newcastle 1. More reaction to that at half-time in this game, which is about 14 minutes away. Then the lines will be open for 6:06. And let's see what Manchester City can do with the corner. Foden's delivery. High one towards the far post. Tavernier heads it away. Brooks with the left foot volley. Nunes turns, scampers back to the halfway line. Takes a touch of the ball. Decides to come back to his goalkeeper, Donnarumma. Donnarumma passes it straight back to him, and Nunes, no one within 10 yards of him there. Plays it back here to Bernardo Silva, who's just walking and pointing and directing operations. Nice little ball through the lines from Gonzalez to Shirky. Now Nico O'Reilly, another tall man in this Manchester City team. Turns in the centre circle, to his right to Silva, back to Diaz. Across it comes to Gonzalez again. Gonzalez assesses his options. Straight ball to Foden. On to Shirky. Flicks it forward. Haaland's away again into the penalty area. Takes it round Petrovic and scores another goal. Erling Haaland has 2 in the game. 98 in the Premier League. He may even make the 100 today. And remarkably, it is a 17th goal of an already incredibly fruitful season. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1.
It's indefendable. It's the same run again, and once again it's Cherky that finds Haaland, and he runs across that defender that's trying to get back and cover him. He does so well. He's so intelligent when he's in that situation, Erling Haaland. His first touch is brilliant. It's a high line again from Bournemouth. The pitch is very compact in the middle. Quick 1-2. And it's actually Truffert on the near side, the left back, who plays Haaland on side. The other back three at Bournemouth had moved up. He was offside if the Truffert wasn't in position. Lovely ball over the top from Cherky. Great first touch with his right foot. Takes him right across Diakite. Nothing he can do, can't touch him. Goalkeeper comes running out. This time Haaland, another left foot touch around him. Taps it into an empty net.
Just watching the slow motion replay, you've seen it all before. Erling Haaland in full flow, an absolute colossus. That blonde hair tied back, flowing long as he goes around the goalkeeper. The angle's tight. You knew he was never, ever going to miss. 17 goals this season. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1, and every game that Manchester City have scored in this season, he has scored in. They've only not scored twice, and those are 2 games they've both lost in the Premier League to Tottenham here and Aston Villa away last weekend. I will not be surprised if Haaland gets himself a hat-trick. Doku through to O'Reilly, round Petrovic, can he finish? Oh, it's cleared off the line. Great defending, desperate defending at the back there. O'Reilly got it on target. Foden was lurking for a rebound as well, and it's Jimenez who's managed to get it away.
Oh, unbelievable piece of defending from Jimenez. Really good ball through from Doku. And it was O'Reilly in almost exactly the same position as Erling Haaland was. Puts the ball across the box, but somehow Jimenez, I think with a heel, gets it off the line. Pep Guardiola beneath us. He's going mad with the fans, isn't he?
Yeah, wants more and more. Wants constant support from these Manchester City fans. Manchester City leading Bournemouth 2-1. They've given the ball away on the halfway line. Semenyo onto it for Bournemouth. Where's the next goal coming from then? Semenyo drops a shoulder, shoots from range, skinny one, bounces once. Donnarumma makes the save. Immediately gets Manchester City on the attack. That lifts the fans. Foden going for a high, searching long ball to Haaland, doesn't get it right and hoofs it straight into the arms of Petrovic. But Pep Guardiola applauds with his hands above his head. He likes the idea.
Him and Areola, they're an absolute pair together.
Yeah.
They're a joy to watch from up here. Those technical areas, I mean, what's the point? Both of them are nearly on the pitch.
True fair for Bournemouth. Back it comes to the halfway line. Here's Senesi. When Haaland got away the second time there, you could see Diakite thought for a second, Paul, about making a challenge. He was behind him. Decided not to, didn't he? He just thought possibly might get myself sent off here, and then we'll be in even more trouble. Touching moment inside the stadium right now. We've reached the 35th minute of the game, and the Manchester City fans, as one, all around us, all around this stadium, stand and applaud in memory of a loyal fan, Guy Bradshaw, who travelled with other fans out to watch the team play in the Champions League away to Villarreal this season, and very sadly passed away at the age of 35 while he was out there. So in the 35th minute, the Manchester City fans remember him. Our thoughts with his friends and family as the game continues on the field. Senesi, Krupi, lovely touch, little 1-2 with Tavernier. Doku is back to win it for Manchester City. Gonzalez holds off a couple of changes, turns forward to Doku. Haaland's got to get himself back onside. Doku still dribbling, might be able to find Haaland to his left. Does find Haaland. Can he get the hat-trick? Little dink. No, Petrovic saves, spins off the keeper, and behind it goes for the corner. He will get the hat-trick, I'm sure of it.
It's the same again, isn't it? The same playbook over and over again. This time it's Doku running at the heart of the defence. Haaland has to hold his run, stay on side, pulls away to the left this time as the goalkeeper rushes out, unless he doesn't slot it underneath him this time. Goes for the dink. Petrovic holds his left hand in the air as he goes. Different type of finish. Good save from the goalkeeper.
Corner for Manchester City. 10 minutes left in the first half. 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the World Service. West Ham 3, Newcastle 1. This is City 2, Bournemouth 1. Silva's cross into the far post. Petrovic leaps and grabs the ball above his head with both hands. Bournemouth still very much in the game, but Manchester City, in terms of getting Haaland away 3 or 4 times now, 2 of them have already turned into goals, looking very, very dangerous indeed.
I don't understand why Bournemouth are persisting with this high line, because it's an obviously high line, and the 2 central defenders, Diakite and Senesi, they're playing so far up the pitch, and every time Haaland just has to hold his run, and Manchester City are looking for it. The turnover of possession, they immediately look for that run of Haaland.
Here's Tyler Adams for Bournemouth to Alex Scott, wide to the right to Brooks. Brooks prods it back to Scott. Scott passes back to the halfway line, points to Diakite and says, let's get this out to the left-hand side. Senesi in the inside left channel, bringing it forward, tries to go straight up the pitch to Semenyo. Intercepted, back it came to Senesi. Here's Truffert looking for an option, finds Semenyo. Semenyo is just shepherded away from goal by Diaz. Diaz continues to run with him towards the halfway line. Oh, Jimenez has lost it on the halfway line. Here's Bernardo Silva. Still plenty to do. Foden getting forward on his right. Silva stops for a second, twists and turns, keeps the ball. Little magician Bernardo Silva, so many of them in this team. O'Reilly now has it, and here's Silva again. O'Reilly bursts forward down the left. Brooks sticks with him. Silva keeps the ball, passes back here to Gvardiol.
Interesting, that last opportunity for Haaland that he chose to go with the dink.
Oh, lovely layout from Haaland to Shirky. Good tackle by Diakite on Shirky.
Now, once he went round the goalkeeper, the other one he slotted underneath. I think he was going through for a hat-trick of one-on-one different types of finishes.
Yeah. Semenyo's down. Went for a 50-50 just short of the halfway line. Play's going to continue unless Bournemouth decide to put the ball out. Iraola suggests to Adrian Truffert, his left back, that's exactly what he should do. And Semenyo is holding the small of his back here, flat on his face, lying prostrate on the turf at the Etihad Stadium.
Painful one. Ruben Diaz, there's no foul there. Ruben Diaz gets there first. I think his knee goes into his pelvis. Oh, it's not a nice one. Painful one. You can see Semenyo, physio and the doctors are both on, attending to him. That gives the managers an opportunity now to do that huddle like we see on the pitch, to get the team talk some more instructions, and Pep Guardiola's very animated.
Yeah. Big week for Manchester City, as it is for plenty of clubs in the Champions League. So this big game against Bournemouth, if they win it, they go second. They'll be 6 points behind Arsenal. Then they're at home to Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League on Wednesday night. We'll be here for full commentary of that one. And then next Sunday, we're here again, full commentary of Manchester City against Liverpool. Then the international break. And then they're away to Newcastle, who I know were beaten today at West Ham, but playing them at St James's Park is another matter. So 3 really big Premier League games here, Paul. This one, Liverpool, Newcastle away for Manchester City.
Yeah, it's a tough run for Manchester City, isn't it? Obviously with the Champions League games sandwiched in between those as well. Pep Guardiola will be looking to get a result today, obviously, after the disappointment of last week away at Villa, the way that they played. I think he was disappointed with the obviously the result, but the performance as well. Got back on track midweek against Swansea. They're going 1 down, but that's what you would expect a Manchester City side to do. Interesting there, just in the break, Donnarumma's gone over to the referee, Anthony Taylor, once again, and he said, look, can I speak to you? He's pleaded his case, and Anthony Taylor, to his credit, he just said, yeah, OK, I'll explain to you what VAR has said. And he's kind of wandered back to goal with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, if you are just tuning in, that's to do with the Bournemouth goal scored by Tyler Adams. Manchester City went 1-0 up, and Adams scored after Donnarumma came to punch a corner. Just before the corner came in, David Brooks sort of linked arms with Donnarumma, then let go. Donnarumma went to try and punch the ball, miscued, slightly off balance. It fell to Adams, and he scored the goal, and Donnarumma was booked in the aftermath for his protest. But VAR had a look and decided it was okay. Now Semenyo is in some pain here. He really is hobbling, and he's caught one, hasn't he? Right, as you say, it was just Diaz coming through to win the ball, and then the impact of the 2 bodies. But Diaz going forward, Semenyo turned his back and he's caught it right in the lower back.
It's a horrible one. The knee right there, right at the small of your back. A really painful one.
Game is back underway, so Bournemouth down to 10 men at the moment, with Semenyo still waiting to come on the field. Scott is tripped. He does a massive somersault inside his own half. Free kick for Bournemouth. 3.5 minutes left in the first half. Steve Crossman back with us at half-time. Lines will be opening for 606 very soon. 08085 909 693. Celtic through to the League Cup final in Scotland. They beat Rangers 3-1 after extra time. Rangers playing a lot of that game with 10 men. Got it back to 1-1. But Celtic got the job done. They'll play St Mirren in the final. Here's Semenyo. Semenyo's right-footed ball makes its way out towards Brooks. Manchester City defenders backing off. Brooks comes gliding to his left. Little pass from Tavernier finds Brooks again. Adams picks up the running for Bournemouth. Forward to Tavernier. Ball sort of hit Tavernier. He turned it into a decent control. Passes to Truffert. Nunes has gone down hurt. The free kick is given against Tavernier. He challenged Nunes for the ball, caught Nunes, and Anthony Taylor says free kick for Manchester City, who lead Bournemouth 2-1.
It's all been too narrow for Bournemouth in the last 10 or 15 minutes. They've looked at the best in this first half when they've got Tavernier wide, Semenyo wide, and even Brooks overlapping on the outside. The dangers that they've caused Manchester City is when they've moved the ball and got into those wide areas and got crosses into the box like they did for Krupi in the first 2 minutes, and the goal was ruled out for offside. But that's when they've looked at the best, Bournemouth.
So Celtic beating Rangers in the League Cup semi-final. West Ham 3, Newcastle 1. WSL today, all the games kicked off at 12 o'clock. Villa 3, Everton 3. Manchester United 3-2 winners at Brighton. That takes them up to 1 point behind Manchester City in second, 2 points behind the leaders Chelsea. Arsenal 4-1 winners at Leicester. And Spurs beat Liverpool 2-1. So Liverpool have lost all 6 games so far this season in the WSL. Highlights of all the action in the Women's Football Show, BBC One at 11:25, which follows Match the Day with Mark Chapman, Rob Green and Michael Carrick.
That'll be an interesting studio tonight with the goalie in that studio. What just happened to Donnarumma?
Exactly. Yeah.
The Chappers, I'm sure, will give Greeny some stick if he says that should be a foul.
Yes. Popcorn at the ready, everyone. Tune in. Free kick, Manchester City. Donnarumma launches it downfield with his right foot. 2-goal Erling Haaland jumps, tries to flick the header on, doesn't get a contact. It's cleared high in the air, nodded forward by Nunes. Awkward control by Scott, but they've scrambled it back to Senesi, who dummies playing the ball forward and turns and comes back to his goalkeeper Petrovic, who's twice had that terrifying sight of a 6'5", bright blonde-haired Norwegian tearing at him with the ball at his feet.
Did you see the social media clip of him dressed as the Joker
Brilliant.
this week for Halloween?
He
Yeah,
looked brilliant,
that was scary.
Really scary. Semenyo on the left-hand side, little drag back, passes to Trufer. It's just beyond Trufer inside the Manchester City area. Bernardo Silva gets it away, but only as far as Adams. Tavernier lays it back here to Scott. Scott turns back out to the left and finds Adams. Back to Scott with a 1-2. Adams down the line to Trufer, and Bournemouth eventually come back towards the halfway line, and Manchester City push them away from their goal. So 2 goals from Haaland sees Manchester City leading 2-1. There's a ball over the top. Krupi brings it down. The angle's really tight there. Decides against the shot. Plays it back to Trufer, just outside the area on the left. Cross comes in. O'Reilly volleys it away. Doku takes a gentle first touch with the instep of his left boot and goes sprinting away to his left. Jimenez sticks with him, makes the tackle, and the ball goes out for a throw-in to Manchester City.
Better from Bournemouth. We talked about ball over the top, getting into the wide areas. Krupi really does look lively. He occupies the Manchester City central defenders, whether it's a run in behind or across the line. They can't take their eyes off him.
5 minutes of added time, end of the first half. Long throw from deep here up towards Haaland. He holds it up, lays it off, couldn't find Foden. Trufer knocks it back to his keeper Petrovic. One touch from him with Foden closing in. Out to Diakite on the right. Manchester City pressing here, and it's forced Bournemouth into the mistake because Scott has passed the ball out of play.
I don't think either of the two managers will be disappointed with what they've seen in the first half. I think the team talk from Pep Guardiola will be more of the same with the intensity, because that's what they've looked their best at. As far as Bournemouth and Areola, it's maybe just a slightly deeper defensive line. Cut out the defensive mistakes. Somebody mark Haaland, stop him running through, but actually when they've gone forward, the offensive press has worked.
Yeah, 2 goals. They left it open for Haaland to do what he does best. Nunes with the run, looking for Haaland, crosses behind him, and Jimenez with a very confident header back to his goalkeeper from the edge of the box. Petrovic rolls it out to Jimenez, quickly released to Brooks on the right-hand side. O'Reilly's trying to get back. Jimenez was caught off the ball as the move was building up, and Foden is booked for the foul. The move stopped on the halfway line, but the foul was right in front of Anthony Taylor, and that would have been an option for a Bournemouth pass to keep that move going. That is why Phil Foden is getting booked.
He just stopped a counter-attack, Phil Foden, very cleverly. Looking for a 1-2. Bournemouth players. Phil Foden just puts his arm over the back, pulls him down. Referee on the spot was the right decision. Booking for Foden.
Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Former England goalkeeper Paul Robinson with us here at the Etihad Stadium. Bournemouth have had 12 attempts at beating Manchester City away from home. They've never done it. 1 draw and 11 defeats. I looked up the draw today, actually. It was at Main Road in 1989 when Mel Machin's team for Manchester City were trying to get back into the top flight. City went 3-0 up in sort of classic City of old. Bournemouth got it back to 3-3. Luther Blissett scored in the 97th minute to earn Bournemouth a 3-3 draw. And it all got a bit nervy for Manchester City towards the end of the season, but they did get promoted. Adams floated pass out to Semenyo, clever ball to Trufer on the left, cross comes into the near post. Gonzalez is there, lovely layoff from Shirky, back to Nunes, back to Shirky on the right, tries to take it inside Tyler Adams, stops him momentarily. Here's Bernardo Silva, edge of his own penalty. What a lovely pass that is with his left foot, like an arrow fired across the field at O'Reilly. O'Reilly running forward here into the Bournemouth half, short pass to Foden. Back it comes to Gvardiol. What have we got? 2 minutes of added time remaining at the end of the first half. Will Haaland help himself to a first half hat-trick here? Will he get another chance? Let's see. Gonzalez is there. 10 yards inside the Bournemouth half. Across to O'Reilly. Wider to Doku. Doku against Jimenez. Man City fans excited about this little prospect here. Doku tries to turn with a little back heel. Jimenez done well there, makes the tackle, and it's out for the throw into City.
He's provided Manchester City's only real width as Doku on that left-hand side, because when they've got Cherki on this right-hand side, every time that they get the ball or he gets the ball, he tends to track in field. It cramps things up a little bit. So Manchester City reliant on Doku to create the space and be the wide man, if you like.
Little bit of verbals and afters between Doku there and Jimenez after the initial challenge. That's continuing, so we'll keep an eye on that throughout the game. 90 seconds left in the first half. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Here's Foden nudging the back from Scott, stumbling. Now he's eventually gone down. He kept his balance, played his pass. Foden's gone down. slowly picked himself up. Manchester City happy to keep playing inside their own half. Here's Nunes forward to Foden. He's fine now. Haaland's making the run. Foden decided not to release. Not for now, Erling. Bide your time. Here's Nunes. Foden again, just outside the Bournemouth area. On the right. Caught there, was he, by Semenyo? Yep. Free kick, Manchester City. Right at the end of the first half, and Foden's got another sore one, this one just below the knee. Manchester City not bothered about Foden, take the free kick quickly. They're not going to be allowed to do that. Paul?
Dangerous area. Phil Foden's got caught a couple of times. He feels a little bit hard done to. That time he's just trying to turn away out of a tight space. Semenyo clatters him. No real reason to, actually, because Phil Foden was just looking to turn out, recycle the ball and keep the ball with the Manchester City central defenders. Actually, Semenyo has given a free kick away in a really dangerous position here. What is it, 6-7 yards outside the box on the angle? Made for a left footer.
Well, exactly, made for a left footer. Haaland's on the hat-trick. You don't often see him hit these. Shirky and Foden, I mean, it's made for Foden, really, isn't it? If the left leg is in decent enough condition to try and whip this one around the wall. Ryan Shirky fancies it too. Foden's just tightening the old bootlaces, pulls the socks up to just beneath his knees. Shirky takes 3 very deliberate paces back. The whistle blows. It will be Shirky with his right foot round the wall, and Petrovic saw it from a long way, flying to his left, palms it behind for the corner. No time for the corner at the end of the first half. Manchester City lead Bournemouth 2-1. We said it would be entertaining. We said there'd be goals. There's a little bit of controversy too, because Manchester City feel that Bournemouth's equaliser shouldn't have stood, and of course Erling Haaland has another 2.
We haven't seen the last of this. As you said before the game, we said it was going to be a crack-up. There's been incident, there's been excitement, there's been goals, and I suspect there's more to come. The referee, I'm sure, will get a round rapture of boos as he comes off, because the Manchester City players and supporters feel hard done to at the goal that they conceded. They feel that he hasn't given them enough all afternoon. As you can hear, referee's making his way to the tunnel.
Last Manchester City player off the field, inevitable, unstoppable, Erling Haaland. He scored both. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1.
You know I can't resist a quiz question. You know I can't resist.
Good,
I've written down 10 answers. Just remind me of what the actual question was.
So the question was, Phil Foden making his 200th Premier League appearance for Manchester City today. He becomes the 15th player to do so. So this is only Premier League football. It's not before then. So yes.
All right, I've got 10, and then we'll see if the listeners can get the other 5, if indeed all of these are right.
You're right, of course, Steve, yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Hart?
Joe Hart is one of them, correct.
Aguero?
Correct.
Company?
Correct.
Edison?
Correct.
Yaya
Toure, correct.
De Bruyne?
Correct.
Walker?
Yes.
D Silva?
D Silva has the most.
B Silva?
B Silva, correct. Who's the only one out here playing today? Yep.
Rascal Richard Dunn.
Wow, that's a go. See, I think that's one of the difficult ones. So those are all correct, Steve. So how many is that? 10?
I'm here all week.
Right, have you two finished? The team's just coming out for the second half now.
Yeah, I was going to say I could have asked a really pertinent question, but instead I did that. 85058 at 5 Live Sport. If you've got any of the others, there's 10 down, 5 to go. Paul, Ali, thank you for the time being. We'll be back for second half commentary. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Women's Cricket World Cup final. Let's check in there, Ellie.
It's looking more and more like this is going to be India's day, Steve, because South Africa chasing 199 to win, or 149 for 5. And we're in the 30th over, and the latest wicket, Sonalo Jafta, pretty scratchy, and then just caught by Radha Yadav off the bowling of Deepti Sharma for 16. So Laura Wolfhard, still a solo effort from her. 74 runs so far for the South African captain. Remember, she scored 169 in the semi-final to beat England a few days ago, but it looks like she's going to be left on her own at this rate. 150 for 5, so South Africa need another 149 to win from 20 overs.
In the FA Cup so far today, South Shields, Eastleigh, Malden and Tiptree have all been unable to cause a big shock. Gainsborough Trinity have the next opportunity, 7th in the Northern Premier League, so that's Tier 7. They've got Accrington Stanley of League 2, Naz Premji.
evening, Steve, from Northholme. 9 minutes gone. Gainsborough Trinity 0, Accrington Stanley 0. Northholme, of course, the oldest single-use football ground in the world. Ross Wilcox, their boss, familiar with fans of Scunthorpe and Sheffield Wednesday. Their team has players with league experience, and prolific Johnny Marget's up front, who's scored so many goals in non-league sides. They face an Accrington Stanley side struggling at the wrong end of League Two. They've gone strong of Stanley, just 2 alterations. This part of Lincolnshire, though, excited for what could be a famous night for Trinity, and they've got a chance here for a shot, and it's got just wide. Terrific effort it was from Lewis Buttroyd, and turned behind. I think it's going to be a first corner for Gainsborough Trinity. Gainsborough Trinity 0, Accrington Stanley 0.
There's commentary of that on Sports Extra 2. On the way, Martin O'Neill after Celtic beat Rangers in the Scottish League Cup semi-final at Hampden. Jared Bowen after a massive Premier League victory for West Ham over Newcastle. We'll bring you some WSL reaction. We'll speak to Robbie Savage ahead of 6:06, and then we'll be back at the Etihad, all after the news. Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Good evening. Police say 2 people are still in a life-threatening condition in hospital after a mass stabbing on a train in Cambridgeshire last night. Detectives are questioning 2 British nationals in their 30s on suspicion of attempted murder. There's been a heightened police presence across the UK rail network today. In the past half hour, we've heard from Nottingham Forest, who say many of their London-based supporters were on the train after yesterday's home game. In a statement, Forest say the club is aware many individuals demonstrated extraordinary bravery, which undoubtedly helped prevent even greater harm, adding that everyone stands firmly behind those affected in yesterday's incident as they recover. The club has also made an offer of financial support to ensure fans affected can access the best medical care as they recover. In other news, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's only remaining military title could be stripped from him as he faces mounting criticism over his links with Jeffrey Epstein. The government says it's working to remove Andrew's rank of Vice Admiral of the Royal Navy at the King's request. Andrew's always denied the allegations against him. £9 billion is being committed by ministers over the next decade to upgrade housing for British military personnel and their families. Last year, a Commons committee concluded 2/3 of properties were essentially no longer fit for purpose. The government's programme will see some homes get new kitchens, bathrooms and heating systems. And French prosecutors say the theft of around £76 million worth of jewellery from the Louvre last month was carried out by petty criminals rather than by an organised crime gang. They say the 4 suspects under arrest are from a low-income neighbourhood north of Paris.
Conspiracy theories really can impact the way the world works.
Disinformation. You think you're winning.
There could be 1,000 deepfakes. Actually, you could upend them all.
But it's because of you we work 24/7.
BBC News at midnight, the Prime Minister will host.
To verify the facts with digital tools and reporters on the ground.
BBC News, Moscow.
Lukoja in the West Bank. So, no matter how quickly disinformation spreads,
Let's have trial by combat.
we'll be ready.
The fight for truth is on.
Trust is earned. This is our BBC.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1, half-time, second half commentary on the way. Celtic are through to the Scottish League Cup final after a 3-1 win over 10-man Rangers. Johnny Kenny, Callum McGregor and Callum Osmond got the goals for Martin O'Neill's side. Here he is.
We were terrific and we got the goal in front. We had a goal disallowed for offside. I haven't seen that one back, and I assume it had to be offside. And then we get the goal and we are in command of the game. Rangers have a man sent off and you think, gosh, come on, let's go and try and get the second goal. And I think there was just a little bit of anxiety in the attempt to do that. And took the foot off the pedal, all those usual phrases. Rangers really come into the game, and actually for a spell with 10v11, I thought dominated proceedings and you start to get anxious. And I was just saying to Sean Maloney, maybe about 15 minutes to go, we need to kill the game off. We need a second goal in the match. And almost about 6 or 7 minutes later, Rangers get the penalty. So, but then Callum McGregor comes up with just a phenomenal goal for us from a phenomenal player, and we go on to win the game.
Not just Callum, of course, Johnny Kenny stepped up again, and of course Callum Osmond, what a moment for him.
Yeah, absolutely, terrific, really. He had a chance before that there and missed it, and I thought, well, here we go. But no, he's sharp. He's a really decent player, and when he learns how to play centre forward properly, then he'll be a player.
More on Martin O'Neill to come in a second. West Ham won their second game of the season, 3-1 victory at home to Newcastle. Here's captain Jared Boyd.
It's been a long time coming. We wanted to win, and been disappointed with the results, the performances. But coming back today, we knew we have 2 games before the international at home where we haven't been good enough at home, and we wanted to change that today. We knew if we win today, going into next week would be so important for us, and I thought we'd done that. We had disappointment with mine it in the post, and then they scoring straight up the other end, then getting a penalty, then getting it overturned. And sometimes when you think your luck's against you, it's never going to change. But I thought we stuck in there. Lucas scored a really good goal, and then went on to score 2 more good goals.
And just finally, I want to ask you about Freddie Potts' first Premier League start. I thought he was fantastic, but also he kept cutting to his dad on the sidelines with some very funny sort of facial expressions from him. What did you make of his performance, but also his dad's his coach? I don't know if you've experienced that, what it's like.
No, never. I think I played with Steve Bruce and Alex Bruce back in Hull days, so experienced it before. But Potsy Senior wants Potsy Junior to do really well, and Potsy Junior wants to do really well. And I was gutted for him that the goal was disallowed, but I think his performance, again, he's someone that trains really well, has been in a really good place, and probably feel like he deserves more opportunities. But you wouldn't know that because he comes out here today and puts in a performance that he did, and he's a really good person as well, got on with him well, and I'm so happy for him that he's got his opportunity and he's going to get the recognition that he deserves, so really happy for him.
Massive victory for West Ham. The other big news in the Premier League today, of course, Vitor Pereira sacked by Wolves, with them bottom of the table. 08085 909 693. The lines are open for 606 with Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage. Afternoon, Rob.
Afternoon, Steve. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. That is a long list of interesting stories, isn't it?
Yeah, the Wolves fans, obviously, Vitor gone. Who do they want as their next manager? It's as simple as that, isn't it? Who are the candidates out there? Will there be, obviously, managers, in jobs right now? Mm-hmm. What will the compensation be if they go for manager of from another club? So that's going to be very interesting. So Wolves fans, give us a call. Great win for West Ham. Man City, is it 2-1? I've been travelling in Harlem with 2 goals. Wow. No real FA Cup shocks today, is there?
No, not so far. Gainsborough have got the last chance of the day.
Yeah. And
yesterday was lovely because Carlisle winning and Gateshead winning. That's father and son. Alan Armstrong, Gateshead manager, and his lad plays for Carlisle. That was nice.
Yeah, my son played for Reading. 2-0 up. Oh, yeah. 2-0 up, and then
forget I said anything.
2-0 up and then lost 3-2. But listen, Mark Hughes on his birthday, great win for Carlisle.
Martin O'Neill, your former boss.
So again, 73 years of age, winning in the semi-final, his passion still there. But you know what I love about Martin, and I take my managerial role, and Martin was a huge influence because players want to play for him. And listening there to about the young boy who scored the 3rd goal, saying he's a decent player. If you can play proper, learn how to play as a centre forward properly, you become a good player. So what Martin does, he builds you up, but then the younger players, he makes you stay humble and want to prove him wrong. With the older players, like you said, Callum McGregor, phenomenal, if I can say that word, and he was. So again, Martin's he's brilliant. Listen, he was brilliant for me. It just goes to show with young players, he builds them up, but he keeps them level, wanting to do better and better and better. So what a win for Celtic. Rangers did well. Rangers did really well. And there's not much else, is there, Stephen? What else is there? There's not much else, is there?
Well, it depends if you're going to have a little chat about your FA Cup tie.
Incredible. What a game. I've got to say, I've been involved in football many, many years, but that second half was the proudest I've ever been in my life as a football person.
Oh, wow.
To have a team play for you like that, 3-0 down, 56 minutes, and then we're 2 inches from, we're going 4-3 at the normal time, and Mendy hit the bar, and then obviously they scored late on, and then the chance at the end for the young boy Dowshy. He's in tears after, but again, it was my arm around him, the Luton fans applauding us off and him off, because they knew what we did. But I've got such a young squad, and now developing players, Steve. Average age was 22, and we took Luton all the way, and Jack, great, listen, they were great, but it's we focus on the league now, that old, saying, let's focus on the league, but we wanted to win, inevitably lost, but Luton, good luck to them. Draw on Monday. I'm at Tamworth tomorrow, playing Leyton Orient. Tamworth, a great cup run last season. So again, Macclesfield, 6 goals going through. So I'm delighted for them.
Loads of good stories. 08085 909 693. Cheers, Rob.
Thanks, mate.
6:06 once we're done at the Etihad in the Women's Super League. Manchester United have moved within 2 points of leaders Chelsea. They won 3-2 at Brighton. Here's head coach Mark Skinner.
We've had one day. I think Fallon got back on Friday morning. We're travelling down to Brighton on Saturday. So to turn that around, they're all on international mode, and to bring them into one performance, it was bitty at times. I'll accept that, but to win the game and the moments of quality is what we're about this year. We'll be unhappy with conceding 2, but also happy with the fact that we can score 3 and come away with 3 points.
How important will those 3 points be? You just mentioned about the international break, coming off that and getting those 3 points away from home as well. You won 4 on the bounce away from home.
Yeah, and sometimes because we go game to game, you don't even look at that. But it's a really good start, and I think what it shows is to come to this far. It's a bit of a mission from Manchester, but to do that and produce what we've done today in moments, I think shows a lot about our group. And we have to win these games. Like, Brighton are a good team, and we need to win these games to keep pace at the top.
How important is to keep pace at the top? Because as we know, Chelsea, they're relentless, aren't they?
Relentless, and and a lot of other teams are. But what I've seen today is how tight it is, and even if you drop your concentration or levels for a minute, Brighton were nearly let back in, and I think we would have let them back in. I don't necessarily think they gave us that much panic, apart from ourselves allowing that. And so you've got to be on your metal, on your money, and I think we have to focus going into the Villa game, because that's another one that can do that to you.
Mark Skinner with Sohail Sahi. Other scores in the WSL today: Villa 3, Everton 3, Leicester 1, Arsenal 4 and Spurs 2, Liverpool 1. One tennis line for you. Yannick Sinner beat Felix Auger-Aliassime to win his first Paris Masters title. He also reclaims the world #1 ranking from rival Carlos Alcaraz. Right, 08085 909 693. Get your calls booked in for 6:06. That follows the second half at the Etihad. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Paul Robinson and Ali Bruceport.
Thank you, Steve. The Bournemouth players are back with us. We're waiting for the Manchester City 11 to emerge from the tunnel down to our right-hand side, but Bournemouth in their red and black vertical stripes, just going through a little pre-second half warm-up. But interestingly as well, Paul Robinson, you spotted this. Antoine Semenyo still receiving a little bit of treatment for that knock he took to his back in the first half.
Yeah, it's not comfortable, is it? You can see that he's not moving right. He's obviously had treatment during the half-time break, but as the players went out to warm up and do the fast feet in preparation for the second half, he went over to the dugout to continue doing the hot pack, and now he's just had a load of ice put on it. Yeah, he's kind of hobbling as well, isn't he, when you watch him walk back into the middle of the field.
Bournemouth starting the night, second place in the Premier League table. As it stands, Manchester City going above them. If they win this game, they go second. And Bournemouth, of course, as I said in the first half, looking for a first ever away win at Manchester City in their history. So they need a storybook turnaround in the second half, which is a really clumsy way for me to get Tony Livesey's fact of the day into the commentary ahead of the second half. The quiz question I was asked on Tony Livesey's floodlit fact of the day early this week was which children's fictional book did Bournemouth feature in? I was given a choice of 3. I chose the wrong one. Apparently The Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and The Philosopher's Stone. Bournemouth feature in a newspaper report at some point in that book. So there is Tony Livesey's fact of the day. Tony on from either 10 or 10:30 weeknights on 5 Live and BBC Sound. Second half is underway. Manchester City in the sky blue shirts, the diagonal white sash across the front of the shirt, white shorts, light blue socks with dark blue tops, playing from left to right in the second half. Nico O'Reilly making a good dash down the left early on, but he's lost the ball. Brooks plays it forward here to Krupi. Brilliant skill. Flicked it up and turned the pass round the corner on the volley to find Brooks. Brooks has Bernardo Silva backing off. The pass is behind Tavernier. Can't find Krupi, but Brooks wins a free kick 35 yards out inside right channel. He was fouled as he played the pass.
He's been very direct today, David Brooks. His left foot cutting it in from the right-hand side. He gets the ball away, but just as he's about to play the ball, Bernardo Silva catches him. Ball doesn't reach its intended target, so referee Anthony Taylor blows for the free kick for Bournemouth in a decent position actually. Central defenders have gone forward. Tavernier stood over it. Alex Scott stood over it. Definitely going to deliver this into the box.
Yep. Set pieces and more set pieces. That's been the story of the season so far. FA Cup first round action. Gainsborough Trinity against Accrington underway. commentary over on Sports Extra 2. It kicked off at 5:15. It's currently 0-0. Alex Scott with the free kick. Real whip and zip on that one. Headed away by Haaland. Nudged back by Truffert to his fellow fullback Jimenez, the dark-haired Spaniard. Petrovic well outside his penalty area for Bournemouth, but they've worked it well. Truffert to Jimenez, back to Truffert on the left-hand side. Gets his head up. Pass down the line to Semenyo, who gives it straight back to him. And I think we'll continue to watch Semenyo and his movement in the early stages of this second half, Paul.
Yeah, there's nobody out warming up immediately, but he's certainly not comfortable in his movement, is he? I mean, when the play's active, he's kind of ambling and walking over the far side. One thing noticeable about Bournemouth already is they're trying to stretch the pitch. Semenyo extremely wide on the left-hand side.
Krupi showing he's got a bit about him there, giving Gvardiol a good old hefty shove in the back as Gvardiol played the pass back to Donnarumma. Free kick goes Manchester City's way. So City, 2 players on yellow cards. Donnarumma, one of them the goalkeeper. Phil Foden, the other. Back four of Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly. Nico Gonzalez in central midfield. Rodri is on the bench this evening. That is Gonzalez, and that is clever and calm under pressure from Scott. Beating the press and brings the ball out to the left-hand side. Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Ryan Shirky and Jeremy Doku. Here is Doku to O'Reilly. O'Reilly's cross in. Haaland climbs, heads it well over the bar and behind for the goal kick. Partially unsighted as he got up to make that header, but he's annoyed with himself that he didn't get it on target.
The only thing surprising from Erling Haaland was that it wasn't on target. I think it was just a little bit too high for him. Initial really good play from Nico Gonzalez inside his own half. Turns a defence into attack very quickly. O'Reilly is on the left-hand side. Lifts it to the edge of the 6-yard box at the far post. Haaland just slightly underneath it. Can't get it on target.
Haaland has got both of Manchester City's goals so far this evening. They lead Bournemouth 2-1. You're listening on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service. Has 8 Premier League hat-tricks to his name for Manchester City since joining in 2022. If he gets another one today, there's a long-range effort from Semenyo trying to catch Donnarumma out. That was well inside his own half. Donnarumma saw it, backpedaled and saved it on the edge of the 6-yard box. That was on target.
Whoever's seen that recently? Was that Luton? Was there a Luton game that happened recently, I think? One of the teams down in League One. I think that was a recent game.
Yes, you're right.
But that was Semenyo certainly from inside his own half. Donnarumma was a long way, but to be fair, it's a long way over Donnarumma no matter where it is.
It's got to travel such a long way, and it wasn't doing it at a quick enough speed to trouble Donnarumma. Free kick Manchester City. Fans still making their way back to their seats after the half-time break. Headed forward by O'Reilly. Jimenez plays it back to Petrovic. Side foots a ball out to Jimenez in the right-back position.
Bradford. It was Barnsley against Bradford. Barnsley scored a goal like that against Bradford in the last couple of weeks. That's where I've seen it.
Very well remembered. Given all the football you attend, watch, commentate on, read about, see and whatever.
I never go out, Alec. I'm like
never to remember it in the old Rolodex in your head. Bournemouth pass through comes all the way through to Donnarumma. So yes, 8 Premier League hat-tricks so far for Erling Haaland. Were he to get the 9th today, he'd be level with Robbie Fowler in terms of Premier League hat-tricks on 9. It would only be Shearer on 11 and Aguero on 12 ahead of him. Another record in his sights. Here's Donnarumma. Side foots a pass out to Ruben Diaz. I'll give you that Bournemouth starting lineup again in just a second. Bernardo Silva deep inside his own half. High sweeping ball. Nico O'Reilly just leans into that. Controls it with his left thigh. Finds Ryan Shirky, the Frenchman, making only a second Premier League start of the season. Brooks spies an opportunity. Shirky's given the ball away. First touch from Semenyo is good. Cross comes in right across the face of goal. Brooks is there. Little cut back here. Krupi with the touch and shot into the side netting. Half a chance for Bournemouth at the start of the second half. And I think Pep Guardiola will be annoyed at the way City lost the ball there so easily to give Bournemouth that chance.
And you know, it was Shirky on the right-hand side, tucking in once again. He was over this side, in with O'Reilly. They lost possession and Nunes was completely exposed. Semenyo had all the space in the world to run into on that left-hand side. Just that David Brooks couldn't keep up with him. Semenyo put the ball low and hard across the floor, the 6-yard box, pulled it back to Krupi. It was a decent effort. It was a hard effort for Krupi. Hit the side netting.
Lines are open for 6:06. We heard Robbie Savage at half-time. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking the calls tonight. 08085 909 693. Wolves fans, your thoughts on the dismissal of Vitor Pereira And who might be next through the door? Sammy Mockbell ahead of this game was saying Rob Edwards of Middlesbrough was a name he'd heard mentioned, as well as Gary O'Neill.
Rob Edwards is probably one of the favourites among the Wolves fans. I don't know, I'm not close to that love support, but I mean, some of the names that have been mentioned, like the likes of Eric Ten Hag and Sergio Conceição, I'm not so sure they would fill Wolves fans with a huge amount of confidence given the predicament that they're in at the moment.
Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Semenyo's cross with his left foot is straight at Donnarumma, all in bright yellow away to our right. And it thuds into his chest as he makes the catch. So Bournemouth have George Petrovic in goal, Alex Jimenez, Diakite, Senesi and Truffert, the back four. Alex Scott, Tyler Adams in front of them. Brooks, Tavernier and Semenyo, with Eli Krupi, who had the ball in the net in the first minute of the game, the 19-year-old Frenchman. He was ruled out for offside. Doku's dribbling, he's lost it. Brooks can't keep it for Bournemouth. Doku gets another go, dances inside the challenge of Jimenez. Noise levels rise as it gets to O'Reilly. Cross comes in, Adams with an easy header away. Jimenez nods it forward. Acrobatics from Bernardo Silva to hook the ball high in the air. Brooks and Gvardiol battle for the next one. Bournemouth appeal for an offside in vain against Nico O'Reilly. He's a giant of a left back here for Manchester City. Very close to us in this second half. The City playing from right to left towards that north stand. Foden plays it back to Silva, and there's still 4 more quiz answers to give in terms of 200 Premier League appearances or more for Manchester City. Foden's become the 15th player to do that. Steve Crossman rattled off 10 correct answers at half-time. There are still 4 more to get. We'll give you them before the end of the game. Here's Scott. Little side-footed pass to get Tavernier on the move. Quickly zipping up the pitch for Bournemouth to Brooks. Brooks, clever pass to Scott. On to Krupi! Shoots. Donnarumma makes the save. It goes behind for the corner, and Iraola going through the agonies down on the touchline. He thought it was 2-2.
Yeah, they're certainly not going away, Bournemouth. They're here to fight. Once again, it's Brooks on this right-hand side. Plays a ball inside to Alex Scott. It's the faintest of touches. Just takes out Ruben Dias into the path of Krupi. Kind of leaning back. It's a decent save from Donnarumma, but one you would have expected him to make. But Krupi again hits the target. Much to Areola's frustration, it's not found the back of the net.
My thanks to Paul Robinson as well for some absolutely delicious, piping hot, spicy tomato soup.
Made it myself, sir.
Magnificent. Corner for Bournemouth. They're trailing Manchester City 2-1. Tavernier runs on the spot, delivers with his left foot. In it comes, headed away to the edge of the penalty area. Scott chests it down, plays it back to the right to Tavernier. Back onto his left foot. Real pace on the cross into the far post. Gvardiol heads it behind, but no, it's not out of place. Senesi on the ball inside the penalty area, gets away from him and into the arms of Donnarumma. Goal in the FA Cup. Gainsborough Trinity against Accrington. Naz Premji.
Gainsborough Trinity 0, Accrington Stanley 1. Good move from Accrington and Paddy Madden. Johnny on the spot a few yards out, couldn't miss. It's Gainsborough Trinity 0, Accrington Stanley 1.
With Port Vale beating Malden and Tiptree 5-1 this afternoon. Walsall 3-0 winners at Eastleigh, and Shrewsbury 3-1 winners at South Shields. Ball over the top from Scott for Brooks to chase. It bounces once and into the arms of Donnarumma. Tamworth against Leyton Orient tomorrow night, and then the second round draw will be made ahead of that game. Monday Night Club, by the way, from 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Don't miss that, and if you do, always there is a podcast for you available to listen to via the BBC Sounds app. It'll be followed by an hour of 5 Live rugby at 9 o'clock. Shirky's run down the left looking for Haaland at the near post, blocked by Senesi behind for a Manchester City corner. Paul Robinson.
Looked lively, Shirky. Not sure we expected to see him necessarily in the starting 11 today. He's actually playing on that right hand side, second half, cutting in. He's looked lively, he's looked effective. The understanding that he seems to be gaining with Phil Foden and Silva. Foden definitely looks better in that number 10 role. Looks freer, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's an England squad not too far away. I wonder whether Phil Foden might appear in that once again. Here he is taking the corner for Manchester City into the near post. Players down inside the penalty area. The ball hits Krupi, loops up in the air. Senesi nods it down. Scott chests it down and just crashes it away with his right foot and into the Manchester City half. And at 2-1, Manchester City are not comfortable. You can tell they're looking for that 2-goal cushion again. They know the threat that Bournemouth pose.
They've got the threat on the counter-attack as well, Bournemouth. Yeah, for all Manchester City's current possession in Tavernier, Brooks, Semenyo and Krupi, they've got pace, and when the ball's turned over, they're also a threat.
Little 1-2 between Shirky and Silva. Silva turns on the ball inside his own half. Forward to Nico Gonzalez. Gonzalez across the halfway line to Foden. Space is there for Josko Gvardiol. Low ball from him finds Doku. Doku immediately at top speed takes on Jimenez, who's quick himself as well, blocks the run of Doku. Now Jimenez goes down. Anthony Taylor was going to let that go, then he blows the whistle and gives the free kick to Bournemouth.
He was going to let that go, Anthony Taylor, until he realised that Jeremy Doku was just making strides into the 18-yard box. I do actually think it was a foul on Jimenez. There was a coming together. Doku tried to get round Jimenez, who on our monitors he looks in a lot of pain, whether it's his knee or his ankle. The Bournemouth players are summoning the physio on. Doku does just catch him with his right foot, and then he falls on top of the Spanish defender. But then, as you say, Anthony Taylor was going to let that go, but then he looked where Doku was, and he was just about to accelerate freely into the 18-yard box.
He's kneed him in the back of the calf, the left calf there. That is the untattooed calf I can see on the close-up of Alex Jimenez. I'm really enjoying the Doku-Jimenez battle, actually. It's been good, isn't it, in this game?
It's been very good. Ariola's just watched it on the monitor down in the dugout, and he saw the incident together, and he didn't like the look of it. Immediately he's talking to his coaches, preparing a substitute. Looks in a lot of pain.
Lines open for 606 08085 909 693 is the number to dial. So Robbie and Chris will take the calls through until 8 o'clock tonight. Then you've got half an hour of the Wayne Rooney Show. A couple of episodes come out every single week. You can listen to those via the BBC Sounds app. 8:30 you've got the Premier League review hosted by Rick Edwards, when all the Premier League action will be discussed that's happened over the weekend. And if you're a fan of the NFL, which I am, on the long drive home to Salisbury this evening, Chiefs at the Bills from 9 o'clock on Sports Extra. I'm really looking forward to that. That is a good matchup.
There's some coming up in the Bernabeu soon, isn't there?
Is there?
The NFL, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
I went to see one at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium recently.
Impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think this is the first one at the Bernabeu. I may stand corrected, but I think there's one coming up in the Bernabeu in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. We're about to get back underway. Jimenez is still hobbling. The hobbling Jimenez. How about that as an unintended pun? No, that's intended, you see, it doesn't count because I did it deliberately. So, did you hear the one on this week's pod that everyone picked up on, Paul? The easy tap in. The easy tap in. Yeah,
easy tap in.
That was in a Chris Wise commentary. Here's David Brooks. David Brooks on the ball for Bournemouth. He's going to shoot from range low straight at Donnarumma, and that is the easy save by the giant Italian goalkeeper.
Yeah, Bournemouth ready in a couple of substitutes. Jimenez is ill. He's on the halfway line looking to come back on, but he's not moving too freely. Ariola's passing on some messages to him to take onto the field.
Double change coming for Bournemouth. Evan Nielsen has missed the last couple of games with injury. He's getting ready to go. Justin Kluivert left out of the starting lineup today. He is also ready to come on to the field. Just over half an hour to play. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Two first half goals from Erling Haaland, fairly similar in nature. The first one released from the halfway line. In fact, he ran from inside his own half. The ball was headed into his path, streaked forward and hit the shot past Petrovic. And the second one released from slightly closer to goal, but again took it round Petrovic and stuck it into the back of the net. Nico O'Reilly into the penalty area, shoots and scores! Manchester City have their third. He had Erling Haaland on his left. He didn't need him. He picked his spot. He found the bottom corner. Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 1.
That's all about himself. Finds time and space. He said the stature of him gets into the penalty box. Nobody in a Bournemouth shirt anywhere near him. Got Haaland to his side. Still young, only 20 years old, chooses to ignore that. You've got a goal scorer like Haaland next to you demanding the ball. He makes the right decision. Smashes the ball hard and low across Petrovic. Gets Manchester City's third. And we've got another Manchester City goal scorer on the score sheet.
We do. Nico O'Reilly with his first of the season. Scored a few last season, actually, Nico O'Reilly. 5 goals last season, 2 in the Premier League and 3 in the FA Cup. But just use Haaland almost as the decoy there. Hit it through the legs of the defender and away from Petrovic.
It's actually a really good finish from one so young. Really clever finish. He attracts 4 defenders to him. Haaland's there. He's obviously going to attract a couple of defenders around him as well. O'Reilly just keeps going. The 4 Bournemouth defenders get nowhere near him. And it's a lovely strike with his left foot into the bottom left-hand corner.
As it stands, Manchester City going second in the Premier League table. They'll move to 19 points. Liverpool will be on 18 goal difference plus 4. Bournemouth's goal difference will drop to plus 3 if they lose this game by 2 goals. So they will be behind Liverpool. But I'm going to repeat again, if Sunderland beat Everton tomorrow night, Sunderland would go to 20 points and they would be second in the Premier League table. And guess what? Sunderland against Arsenal next Saturday is a commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. It kicks off at 5:30. We've got West Ham Burnley at 3 next Saturday as well, actually, which, given West Ham's win this afternoon, that's another massive game. Brooks is coming off, Kluivert's coming on, Jimenez is coming off, Lewis Cook is coming on, and the other changes, Eli Krupi is coming off and Evan Nielsen is coming on. And I'm sure Iraola wanted to make those changes at 2-1. Obviously they were getting ready to go. We're still in this. They are still in the game, of course. They Bournemouth will always have a couple of goals in them, but frustrating for him, they're now 2 behind in the game.
Yeah, those substitutes were stripped and ready to go before that third goal went in. The only one that was added on was Lewis Cook, because Jimenez signalled to the bench that he couldn't continue. So there'll be no change in system, it doesn't look like. Wait to see where they're on. Lewis Cook slotted in at right back.
Just under half an hour to play. 6:06 on the way on BBC Radio 5 Live. Lines are open. 08085 909 693. Foden gives it a good old-fashioned hoof downfield with his right foot. Cook chests it down. He didn't want to head that back to his goalkeeper Petrovic. Maybe thought he couldn't get the power on it. Long ball forward. Semenyo jumps, wins a header. Complains to Anthony Taylor he was fouled. Doesn't get the decision. High diagonal towards Doku. So Doku against Cook is the battle now. Doku against Jimenez is finished. Cook's throw back to Diakite, to Cook. Scott under pressure in his own half, just lays it off here to Tyler Adams. And in terms of Bournemouth's next football, that is away to Aston Villa next weekend, which will be one of those 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sunday afternoon, and you'll be able to listen to all the 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League via 5 Live, Sports Extra 2 and Sports Extra 3. Gonzalez doing great work for his team, eventually fouled midway inside the Bournemouth half. Challengers just bouncing off him there. How do you think he's played actually this afternoon, Paul?
Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Exactly like they would have expected Rodri to play,
right,
which hasn't been the norm for him, has it? I think he's controlled possession. I think he's protected the back four when he's needed to. He's broken up play and he's given the ball to others in the right areas. I think he's played well, but effectively without being shouting from the rooftops, if you like.
Yeah, unfussy, exactly, and doing the job and shutting things down, and that was a good example of winning the free kick for his team as well. So Manchester City comfortable. Bournemouth have got to chase the game. Manchester City still have the ball though, playing it around inside the Bournemouth half. They're enjoying themselves. There is Rodri, just talking about him, gets the bright orange bib on, goes jogging down the touchline in front of us, and the Manchester City fans warmly applaud him. Going to be absolutely crucial to get him back fit in this team consistently if they're going to challenge Arsenal for the Premier League title this season.
Well, Pep Guardiola's got a fit squad. When you look at the strength of this bench, Reinders, Stones, Ake, Marmoush, Rodri, Aït-Nouri, Savinho, Rico Lewis, every single one of those you would half expect to be on a starting 11. The squad and the bench is very, very strong.
19 minutes gone in the second half. Manchester City leading Bournemouth 3-1 now. Nico O'Reilly's second half goal, as well as Erling Haaland's 2 in the first half. The ball is played down the right. That's a lovely little layoff from Nunes to Foden. He's being dragged back and foul. It's got to be a booking for Truffert. About 3 goes at that. Truffert got his man. Foden was still running. It's a shame because the move was building nicely, but free kick Manchester City, they don't care. They're leading 3-1.
That position just allows Phil Foden to do that, drop as deep as he wants, pick the ball up, gets the wrong side of players. We talk about the lines, the defensive line and the midfield line. He tries to find spaces in between that if there's gaps or pockets of space, and that's what he's superb at doing, and his ball retention is excellent.
Free kick is curled down the inside right channel. Nunes chases Truffert, who gave it away. The free kick went running back, nodded it back to his goalkeeper. Diakite to Scott. Bournemouth obviously have to score the next goal in this game if they're going to get anything out of it. They've only lost 1 game in the Premier League this season. That was on the opening night of the Premier League season away at Liverpool. Eventually lost it by 4-2. They're 3-1 down here. Here's Diakite. Sideways pass to his right to Cook. Manchester City suffocating Bournemouth here inside their own half. Diakite goes across his own penalty area to Senesi. Senesi runs away from Haaland, absolutely fizzes that ball into the feet of Truffert. Good move building up here. Kluivert turns inside the Manchester City half. Delicious pass with his right foot, brought down by Tavernier. Cook on the overlap on the outside. Tavernier's going to go it alone inside the penalty area. Then the back heel, not enough on it. Doku's given it to Cook though. Cook's floated cross, edge of the box. Truffert brings it down, hits it with his left foot, totally mishits it down into the ground. Diaz heads it away, and Nunes in the right back position has a chance to hold on to the ball here, try and draw a foul, maybe win a throw. That's what he's done. Throwing for Manchester City, they lead 3-1.
That would have been the perfect example of how to break through the high press. Wonderful piece of play by Bournemouth. They could have put a finish on the end of that. That would have been an early contender for goal of the season. It really would. Manchester City had pressed them. You thought there was no way out. Senesi played a brilliant ball that broke the lines into Scott, and then it went forward down the right-hand side. Nothing came of it, but a really good piece of play from Bournemouth.
Foden on the ball again, enjoying himself this evening. Oh, Haaland might be released again. The ball bounces now. Defenders nearby this time. They've got between him and the goal. Haaland just holds on to it for now. Sees Cherki to his right. Now Foden lays it back. Cherki's curler wide of the post and behind for the Bournemouth goal kick.
Notice they are deep for Bournemouth the second half. Well aware of Haaland's run and what he can do to them. That time the ball comes over the top. Yes, he holds himself onside, but immediately two central defenders in Bournemouth shirts drop. They don't try and press Haaland, they just drop and sit in a shape, immediately face him up. Good 1-2 from Cherki and Foden. Cherki that time just can't hit the target.
Up against his former club, of course, Erling Haaland against Borussia Dortmund on Wednesday night in the Champions League. We'll be here. Commentary of the game on BBC Radio 5 Live. Tuesday night, mouth-watering Champions League game we've got for you, which is Liverpool against Real Madrid. And Slavia Prague against Arsenal in full from 5:45 on Tuesday. Scott back into his own half to Senesi. Cross to Truffert. Truffert back to Kluivert. Kluivert deep for Bournemouth here. They're trailing Manchester City 3-1. Kluivert recycles the ball. Adams is onto it, almost on the centre spot here. Passes to his left ahead of Senesi. Must have scurry forward to keep it. Finds Semenyo. Semenyo's one touch to Truffert. Goes for the early cross, and Donnarumma has to come back to his goal line, leap, and just casually flick it over his own bar. It goes behind for the corner. He didn't want to take the risk, whether it was dropping underneath or trying to catch it, or maybe it would bounce off the bar and come back. He's decided to concede the corner.
Yeah, not a nice one for a goalkeeper. Truffert on the left-hand side. Swings across, and there's nobody in a Bournemouth shirt in the 18-yard box. Donnarumma can't take the risk that that's dropping under his crossbar. Has to put it over and gives Bournemouth a set play over on that far side.
Just over 20 minutes to play. Manchester City leading 3-1. Can Bournemouth score from the set piece? They can't beat Haaland at the near post. Leaps high, heads it away. Big cheers from the Manchester City fans. Scott and Truffert exchange passes. It's back to Lewis Cook. Cook goes for a ball over the top here. It's volleyed infield by Senesi. The offside flag is up. Referee's seen it, but he's happy for play to continue because Manchester City have the ball with Foden. Pass down the right for O'Reilly, who's over on the right-hand side. Then Cherki. Cherki does the little Zidane roulette spin, but loses the ball. He caught Diakite while he did it. Diakite's down hurt, but Bournemouth are going to keep playing. Evan Nielsen gets a touch. Back to Adams. Wide to Tavernier. Tackled by Bernardo Silva. The ball comes back to Adams again. Cross to Scott. Returns it to Adams. Here's Lewis Cook on the right-hand side. Lewis Cook back to Adams inside the Bournemouth half. Now back to Diakite, and Bournemouth come across to the left. Senesi thinks about going early with the longer pass. This time it is played over the top. Truffert will chase. Mateus Nunes has it covered for Manchester City. Takes a touch and prevents it going out for a corner, but it will be a throw-in for Bournemouth. After we've seen what Bournemouth can do with this, we'll give you an update on the women's World Cup final in the cricket. Ellie Oldroyd is watching that. South Africa chasing 299 to try and beat India. But here's Semenyo from the left. Cross comes in, or Tavernier attacks it. Got a touch, I think, of his shin, and it's gone behind for the goal kick. So what is happening in the cricket, Ellie?
Well, they have lost another wicket, South Africa, in that chase of 299 there. 209 for 6 now, and Annery Dirksen scored back-to-back sixes in her 35. Excellent partnership with Laura Wolfart, the captain, but she's just been bowled by Deepti Sharma. So this is looking pretty tense. Laura Wolfart is on the brink of a century. She's 99 not out, but can South Africa hold on, keep her company? 90 more needed in 63 balls, but only 4 wickets left.
Thank you, Ellie. Commentary of that is on Sports Extra. Sounds like it could be a dramatic finish. Half-time in the FA Cup, the 5:15 kickoff. Gainsborough Trinity against Accrington Stanley. Naz Premji.
Gainsborough Trinity 0, Accrington Stanley 1. Paddy Maddon's goal just before the half-hour mark. A good flick on from Tyler Walton, and Padden couldn't miss from close range. Gainsborough have had their moments, Ali. This is far from over. 0-0 at the break, and Raheem Sterling, another one of your 200 club.
Oh, well done. That is a correct answer. Raheem Sterling, we've only got 3 to get. 200 Premier League appearances for Manchester City. Evan Nielsen Little nudge there on Ruben Dias as he tried to get onto the ball over the top. Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 1. Couple of City subs getting ready to go. Savinho and Tijani Reinders both coming on for Manchester City. And you were spot on, Paul. We've just had a message, haven't we, from Graham Hunter about the game at the Bernabeu, the NFL. Dolphins Commanders at the Bernabeu. November the 16th. The Bernabeu will be
some spectacle.
I mean, the whole thing is
if you've not been to the new version of the Bernabeu, it's unbelievable. It's like a basketball arena, the way they've got the screens around the top. What a base that will provide for a game like that.
Donnarumma takes the free kick for Manchester City. A couple of defenders get up above Erling Haaland. The ball is at the feet of Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva also on that list, mentioned by Steve Crossman at half-time. One of 15 Manchester City players who've now made 200 plus Premier League appearances. Phil Foden joining the club today, so 3 more to get. That's just gave us Raheem Sterling. Here's Semenyo being chased by Nunes, still going down to the corner flag on the left, runs out of room, runs out of space, and eventually the ball goes out for Manchester City throw. Ryan Christie will come on for Bournemouth as well. Some more changes coming, and we've got 18 minutes plus added time to play.
Just looking now, Pep Guardiola passing on his final instructions. Doku is one that will come off for Savinho. That'll be a straight swap, and I suspect that Gonzalez will be the one that comes off in place for Reinders, but it's not. It's Cherki. There's a defensive change.
Okay, Cherki coming off for Reinders. Unless Reinders goes a little bit further forward, which he can do.
Play higher up, I suspect he might play alongside Gonzalez in a deeper role.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, Paul. And I wonder whether we will see Rodri today or not. Whether we'll see him on Wednesday night against Borussia Dortmund, we'll have to see. So Scott off for Christie, Doku off for Savinho, and Tijani Reinders coming on for Ryan Cherki.
He's played well today, Ryan Cherki. It's probably one of his better performances. I think he's looked really lively, he's looked sharp. Pep Guardiola waits at the edge of his technical area. Big high five, embrace, hug and standing ovation from the Manchester City fans for Cherki. Definitely more like it from him today.
Just over 15 minutes to play. Yeah, I was just going back in my records there, doing a bit of tapping away on the phone here to remind myself that Erling Haaland scored for Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League in his first season here at City. They were paired against each other in the group stages, and he scored in a 2-1 win. City Dortmund here on Wednesday night. They lead Bournemouth 3-1 at the moment. They're going second in the Premier League table. Haaland just jumps into Diakite there, wasn't even looking at the ball. Diakite concentrated on what he was doing. Bournemouth have it. Can they find themselves a goal, which could give us a really interesting last 10-15 minutes or so before we hand you over to 6:06 tonight. Should be a lively one. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking the calls as always on a Sunday. What have you spotted?
There's been no shape change, as you said. Reinders has gone higher up the field. Manchester City playing a 4-1 if you like. Savinho on the right, Bernardo Silva, Reinders and Foden on his left-hand side now.
Diakite got there just in time, and Haaland was snapping at his heels. He saw a loose pass, and had he got onto that first ahead of Diakite again, he would have been clean through on goal. Still sniffing around for the hat-trick. Erling Haaland goes walking back to the halfway line. Truffert on the ball, passes back to Senesi. Senesi strokes it forward here to Kluivert. Kluivert clips a pass out to Cook. Low one down the line to Tavernier. Tavernier back to Adams. Adams for Bournemouth. Sees Reinders coming towards him. Passes back into the Bournemouth half. Ryan Christie, the Scottish international, gets on the ball. Curling passes looking for the runner Semenyo. Can't find him. And it comes through to Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Finally balanced at the moment. Even though Manchester City are 3-1 up, you don't feel that the job's quite yet done, do you? Looking down at Pep and his assistants, talking about making another substitution. Areola beneath us, very animated. Wants Donnarumma clearing the ball before the 8 seconds is up. A goal now would certainly change the mood inside the stadium and change the shape of the game for Bournemouth.
Senesi finds Kluivert. Semenyo's got space on the left-hand side. He's been the magic man for Bournemouth so far this season. Can he sprinkle some of that again here at the Etihad Stadium? He's worked the ball to the right-hand side. Cook has helped it on to Tavernier. Tavernier plays it back to Christie. Adams wants it. Central position, 30 yards out. Moves away from Bernardo Silva. Low pass to the left to Trufair. Back it comes to Senesi. Senesi wants to cross this in early. Headed up in the air by O'Reilly. Drops down. Foden with a lovely first touch inside his own penalty area.
He needs to relax a bit, doesn't he?
Oh, wow.
He's a bit too nervous, Phil Foden. What a touch inside his own 18-yard box.
That is great centre-forward play from Haaland. Held the ball up initially, then shrugged Diakite off as if he wasn't there. Now he's laid the ball off to the right-hand side. Running into the penalty area, Savinho, and the ball's just got away from him. He tried to nip between that little gap between Adams and Trufair, and the ball just bobbled between the two of them, hit a couple of legs and heels, and Bournemouth should be able to clear down the left, and they played it out very nicely indeed. So it's Manchester City leading Bournemouth 3-1, and Marmoush is getting ready to come on here for Manchester City, receiving the instructions. That could be Marmoush for you-know-who, couldn't it, with the Champions League game?
Yeah, maybe he feels he's got enough on the pitch at the moment, Pep Guardiola. Maybe he feels the job's done. Maybe he just wants a little bit more legs in behind. It's just sure of his thinking. We don't know who's coming off yet.
Yeah.
But you would expect, when you look at, it's not going to be Foden, is it? Bernardo Silva. You'd expect Haaland is the most likely.
If it is Haaland, I'm looking forward to seeing the body language.
You can see it already.
Yeah, he knows. Do you think he knows?
He's gone to the other side of the pitch on purpose.
Yeah, he's running away. Right, he wants a hat-trick, Erling Haaland, and Manchester City are attacking with the ball. Savinho up against Trufair. Haaland just jogging menacingly, getting himself into position on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Bernardo Silva trotting forward. Haaland and Diakite sizing each other up about 5 yards apart inside the box, but Manchester City have decided to come back for the moment towards the halfway line. They've slowed it down. More news from the cricket. Ellie Oldroyd.
Absolutely vital wicket for India. Laura Wolfart, the South African captain, is out for 101, juggled 3 times by Amanjot before she finally took the catch in the deep. 220 for 7 now, South Africa, and it looks like it's going to be India's day. 79 needed off 53.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. Manchester City fans baying for City to get the ball to Haaland. Here's Reinders into the penalty area. Reinders shoots hard, hits a Bournemouth body, goes behind for the corner. Now Pep's saying wait.
Did you see that?
Yeah. And Haaland wasn't looking. He turned his back deliberately, and Pep came round. Pep Guardiola turned with his hand, didn't he, and just said, just.
Manchester City got a corner over on the far side. Phil Foden's about to swing it in. Yeah. There's no way that Erling Haaland, even if his number went up, I don't think it'd have come off.
Yeah. Do you remember Kepa at Wembley when he didn't want to come off in the...
Yeah, we all know what happened then.
Yeah, exactly. That's when Maurizio Sarri disappeared down the tunnel. We never thought he was coming back, got to the doors and then turned on his heel and did return to the side of the pitch. Tyler Adams is down at the moment for Bournemouth, so we are going to get a slight delay in play. 12 minutes left in the game. Manchester City leading 3-1. And we were talking before the game, Paul, about how important Adams has been and sort of a bit of an unsung hero for Bournemouth so far this season. Maybe just took a little knock on the knee as he was tackled on the halfway line there, but they will not want to lose him. He's okay, actually. Sore.
He's played well again. I mean, he's not been as influential as Bournemouth would have liked him to have been in the final third. He's played well, and he's been an integral part of what they've done. That's the reason we spoke about it, didn't we? I think the injuries that he's had in the past, hopefully for him, they're behind him going into the World Cup.
Yeah,
it's his home country as captain.
Well, that's right, Paul. Talking World Cup as well, I was just reminding myself that Norway are pretty much there. We're going to see Erling Haaland at the World Cup next summer, which is great, which is really exciting. Adams is coming off. He is going to be replaced by young Scottish international Ben Gannon-Doak. But Norway, if they beat Estonia at home in their penultimate qualifier, will then be 3 points ahead of Italy going into the final game against Italy, but their goal difference is so vastly superior that it's very unlikely that Italy will be able to turn that around, even if they beat them by 3 or 4 or 5 goals. Here's Foden's corner into the penalty area. It's beyond Haaland, punched away by Petrovic. Here's Reinders edge of the box. Finds Savinho. Little cut back from him is too obvious. Intercepted by Lewis Cook. Reinders again with his right foot. Low ball spinning into the box. O'Reilly heads it to his right. Oh, good touch by Foden. Couldn't quite find a way through. Too many Bournemouth bodies there. And now Bournemouth bring it away on the counter-attack, and Marmoush is still waiting to get on the field. Semenyo's on the ball for Bournemouth. Gvardiol is chasing. Slides in from behind. Gets the ball. Iraola appeals. There should be a free kick. Semenyo is still down. He's going to be okay. Bournemouth have it again. Here's Ryan Christie. Christie to Cook. Evan Nielsen makes a run. Semenyo stopped playing for the moment. Hobbling now, moving across the penalty area. And Manchester City lead 3-1.
Manchester City fans are asking for more from the team. They play well, obviously, in the final third when they're fully flowing and attacking. Doesn't really suit them when they sit off, allow the opposition to have possession, sit deep, which they are doing now. 2 banks of 4, saying breakers down. Like I say, that system doesn't normally suit them.
Gannon Doak, first touch for him on the right for Bournemouth. 2 Manchester City players in front of him. Might have lost that there to Foden, yet Foden onto it inside his own half. Haaland's still out on this field here, looking for the hat-trick. Gannon Doak comes thundering back. Foden knew he was coming, waited for him to get there. Straight through the back of him, Manchester City win the free kick. And is it Erling Haaland's number that's going up? Drum roll.
It is.
It is. 2 more goals for Erling Haaland. 17 for the season, 26 for club and country, 2 shy of 100 in the Premier League, and once again the real difference between the 2 teams. Pep Guardiola gives him a hug, a little kiss on the cheek, and says, see you Wednesday, we've got Dortmund here in the Champions League.
You run out of superlatives, don't you? I mean, there's only so often that you can praise him for what he does. People may criticise him that he doesn't involve himself in the play enough, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. He scores a ridiculous amount of goals, and he's going to go on and break all kinds of records if he stays in the Premier League.
Throw-in for Bournemouth. Another wicket's gone down. The cricket, Ellie Oldroyd.
Yes, 8 down for South Africa now, 221 for 8. They still need 78 more with 40 balls left. Deepti Sharma has taken 4 LBW. COYI Tryon LBW, the last woman out, she was out for 9. 221 for 8. South Africa chasing 299 to win.
Looking like a famous win for India in the Women's World Cup. Commentary continues on Sports Extra. All the reaction in the Test Match Special podcast. First Ashes Test, which you'll be able to hear ball by ball on Sports Extra throughout the series. Early hours, Friday the 21st of November. Just making arrangements recently with pals for a breakfast watch-along at sort of 5:30 or something UK time. It's going to get started, I think something like 2:10 in the morning. But if you're a night owl, it's there for you. Test Match Special, and it will be absolutely great. 6:06 is on the way. Lines are open. Chris and Robbie are waiting to take the calls. Wolves fans talking about what's going on at their club, bottom of the Premier League. Vitor Pereira has been sacked. West Ham fans celebrating a win today. They beat Newcastle 3-1 in the Premier League. And Manchester City fans, I think they're going to be celebrating a Premier League win. They've lost the ball here. It's gone behind for a Bournemouth goal kick, but they are leading Bournemouth 3-1.
I think a few people, that's affected their accas today when West Ham got a result this morning. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Another Newcastle defeat on the road. Disappointing for them. You know, to credit West Ham as well, because the stadium, when we watched earlier, wasn't it? There wasn't as many people there as I would have expected. Another protest, I think. Yeah, that's right, Paul. Newcastle currently 13th in the Premier League table after that defeat today on 12 points. Foul on Truefair. Free kick Bournemouth. 7.5 minutes plus added time to go. Seems a bit flat, doesn't it? It's gone a bit flat, where the Manchester City fans are just wanting to get it over the line and get it done. Pep Guardiola still animated on the touchline, praising his central defenders, praising Phil Foden, who's now on this left-hand side in front of him. He's not able to escape any work this afternoon because Pep's in his ear constantly. Make sure you tune in next week, 4:30 Sunday. We've got full commentary of Manchester City against Liverpool. It'll be here for you on 5 Live, BBC World Service if you're on the move, available via the BBC Sounds app. Match of the day tonight, BBC One at 10:30 for all the goals, and all the FA Cup goals as well, available via the iPlayer website and app. Last we heard, Accrington won up at Gainsborough Trinity in the first round tie that kicked off at 5:15 this evening. Here's Tavernier for Bournemouth across to Kluivert. 30 yards out in a central position, wide to Gannon Doak, lays it back to Lewis Cook. First time cross, that's a good ball, headed away by Gvardiol. Savinho nods it down. Marmoush can't get onto it. Truefair thought about the shot from distance there. Instead, played a short pass to his left to Semenyo. Back to Christie. Christie dribbling into the Manchester City penalty area. He's lost the ball. Nunes tries to play it down the right. Lucky deflection for Manchester City. Here's Marmoush. And Marmoush gets Savinho away down the right, and Manchester City players bombing forward. Maybe they want a fourth. Reinders is in there, Foden's in there, and Savinho has lost it to the first defender. Makes the wrong decision. Savinho gets so much space on that far side. All the Bournemouth players pushing on, desperate for that goal to try and get them back in the game. Turnover possession. Marmoush just helps the ball on to Savinho, running unchallenged into the Bournemouth half. He's got Foden, he's got Marmoush on the other side, who's made the ground up to get into the middle. Makes the wrong decision. He tries to take on the returning defender. Should have played it early. Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 1, 2 for Haaland, 1 for Nico O'Reilly.
Bournemouth's goal scored by Tyler Adams, his first for the club in the first half. Donnarumma felt he was fouled from the corner. Truffaire's delivery from the left, headed away by O'Reilly for Manchester City. Chested down by Tavernier. Last 5 minutes of the game. Tavernier's left-footed pass. Across to Senesi, back to Tavernier. Forward to Kluivert. Takes it on the turn, covered by Reinders. Little give and go with Gannon Doak. Back it comes to Cook. Tavernier again, well played by Bournemouth. Out to the right it comes. Gannon Doak, little step over onto his left foot. Tavernier has the ball on his left foot, 25 yards out, across to Senesi, desperately trying to work an opening here. Manchester City closing it all down. Truffert gets the cross in with his right foot. Might drop to Evan Nielsen, jumps with two defenders. It drops, in fact, to Donnarumma, who should be delivering that, and then tries to clear with his right foot. Kluivert blocks it at close range. He's a yard away, and he gets booked.
Yeah, Marmoush was away. Really good piece of goalkeeping by Donnarumma. Looked to release the ball with a sidewinder on the side volley. If it had connected, Marmoush was in, completely unmarked. Bournemouth having all the pressure at the moment, all the possession, deep inside Manchester City territory, but they're unable to break them down. Manchester City, as you say, just looking to close this game out.
So your remaining three quiz answers. Players with 200 or more Premier League appearances for Manchester City. Some of you will be sitting at home, you'll have them all, I know. Fernandinho, Pablo Zabaleta and Ilkay Gundogan. And Phil Foden has joined the club today. And Manchester City, is Rodri going to get a minute or two at the end of this game because the bib's coming off? He's going to get a massive cheer.
He doesn't look happy. The manager just sent him back to the bench and said, get ready. He's got, really?
Poor Savinho. Great pace down the right. Tries to get the cross in. Oh, it's stabbed into the side netting by Marmoush from close range. And City very nearly had their fourth.
Good piece of play again. Right-hand side. He gets in. Marmoush. Just a toe poke. Beats Petrovic, the goalkeeper. Was harmlessly wide, hits the side netting. Savinho does well that time. Just can't quite direct it goalwards.
So Rodri and Ait Nouri are going to get on for Manchester City late on here. We are in the 88th minute of the game. Manchester City lead Bournemouth 3-1. Premier League table as it stands tonight. Arsenal on 25 points. Manchester City on 19. Liverpool 18. Bournemouth 18, Spurs, Chelsea, Sunderland, Manchester United 17. But Sunderland at home to Everton tomorrow night. Updates during the Monday Night Club here on 5 Live. If they win the game, they will be second in the table. Here's Gannon Doak running at O'Reilly, heading for the byline. Right-footed ball blocked in the near post by Gvardiol, and then O'Reilly just clears it away with his left foot on the bounce. Throw in taken quickly by Cook to Tavernier. 89th minute now. Rodri doing some high kicks in the technical area just in front of us, just stretching off the hamstrings. Semenyo takes on Nunes, slides in, manages to get the ball between his legs. Semenyo's frustrated, back at him, fouls him. Manchester City get the free kick.
As you can hear, time for the substitutions. Rodri and Ait Nouri coming to the edge of the pitch. Approaching the 90th minute, you would think, for Manchester City now. A job well done this afternoon, and there's going to be another huge round of applause.
Yeah, Phil Foden, 200 Premier League appearances up, enjoyed himself this afternoon. Paul, you felt, I know, that he was playing in a position that he loves. Gets the ball in spaces he wants, is able to turn and see the game in front of him.
And I just think he's a better team player in that position as well. I think he's more effective for the team. The job for a manager is obviously to get the best from the team, but actually you get the best from the team when you have individuals contributing to the team playing in their best position. And I think that's exactly what Phil Foden is in that number 10 role. He just finds those pockets of space, and he's always available for a pass. When the space is tight and there may not be a normal pass on, he'll drop deep, he'll make an angle, and he's always available.